Welcome to the second episode of Hired Talent, the podcast where we very blatantly try to get you to understand what we're saying with bad puns about the title. Yes, that's Hired Talent right there. With me on the top right-hand corner, I've got myself, the woman who's about to have a field day today. Unfortunately, I didn't really play my cards right last week when I thought I'd bring her on as a permanent co-host. I thought that, you know what, she's going to be making some absurd predictions to do with French Counter-Strike. I'm going to come here and say, what an absolutely absurd prediction. You've got nothing going for yourself. What is wrong with you? Why is your life obsessed with the French? And that's where, I'm going to be able to come out on top as the superior analyst. But as it turns out, you realize you don't know where you're pointing, right? Like, what are you doing? Anyway. Oh, right, the G2 jersey. I'm going to cut that out after this. Anyhow, so on the bottom left corner, we've got the second person who is also followed by Thorin. So in our attempt to get retweets out of the main man himself, we're bringing him on as hopefully a permanent tertiary host. Not quite sure about that just yet. Maui might just decide he hates me in between, which would be slightly inconvenient because we're kind of like a semi-permanent casting duo, which would kind of suck. And finally, the last person we've got on is someone I had to have on because, quite frankly, at this point, I need someone to defend Carrigan with me. And you know what? Drone's only ever had a good performance underneath him as an in-game leader. So what will Drone ever say wrong about him? Drone, formerly of Envy, now of Peaker's Advantage. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, isn't Peaker's Advantage a podcast? Well, it's also now a retirement home for teams in MDL. So hey, you've got that going for you. Now, we're going to be starting off strong with that. What we're going to be talking about today is, of course, ESL Pro League, Cologne, and some news. Let's start off with Pro League. Let's start off with kind of some storylines. And first and foremost, goddamn, man, Astralis, what's going on there?
Liquid is better. Changed my mind. Does anyone disagree?
No, they're better for sure.
I mean,
obviously they're better.
Here's the question though: are they going to do? I think Thorin tweeted this today. Is it going to be like a Liquid era? Are they going to be able to do like that dominant Astralis run of like 3 or whatever big events, or do you think it's just kind of like? Here's going to be a bit of a back and forth.
Here's the thing. Before we get into Liquid, I kind of want to know more about what's going on with Astralis. Because, Liquid won the whole thing. We've got a lot of things to say about them. Most of them are going to be good. I want to talk shit first. And let's start off with the Danes. Because let's be honest, man. They didn't make it out top of their group. So they went in quarterfinals against Liquid. They got eliminated top 8. The last time that happened was a ways back. 2018, we saw them never actually losing 2 events in a row. Now, not only have they lost, if I'm not wrong, 3 or 4 events in a row, things aren't going too well for them going to Cologne either. So Pro League wasn't looking great for them. Maui, what do you think about Astralis?
It just seems like Astralis are playing. They segment the rounds really well. Like they'll get to a spot and do whatever it is that they want to do there. Basically, they'll get map control really well. But once they do that, if like things get just a little bit hairy, it's almost like their comms aren't as good as they used to be, and they don't respond to things as well as they used to. It feels like they'll just get lost a little bit more in a round when before it felt like they had total control on everything happening all the time.
Mm-hmm. Drone, Astralis lost to NRG in the last game of the Group A, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, NRG won in a best of 3 as well. That's a 2-1. That's Daps coming in strong. That's Daps saying his last goodbyes and, doing it in style. Do you think this kind of means that Astralis might be at risk of getting back to that point where, maybe they choke a little bit, maybe they're dropping down to top 5 instead of top 3 even?
I don't think they're going to choke, per se. I mean, the energy upset, obviously, is like kind of not something anyone expected, or at least I didn't. I don't think they're going to keep that top 3 spot. I think they will drop into top 5 for sure. I don't think they're going to go back to the old choking Astralis where they make finals and they just blow the whole lead. But I can definitely... I can definitely see them dropping to top 5. And yeah, Daps, I don't know, man. That performance at Energy was really sick, but I definitely do credit that more to Astralis underperforming than I do Energy overperforming. Okay,
fair enough. So you think that's an underperformance? Maui, do you want to step in on that? Do you think Astralis underperformed, or maybe they're just bad?
Well, I guess talking about just their performance in that one BO3, I think NRG just had a lot of good kind of individual CT side, especially performances, like a lot of multi-frags and things like that from a lot of their players that maybe are playing with like a looseness now that they don't normally, but Astralis still look good. Like they still, I couldn't see them falling beneath top 5. Actually, they just play too solid of a game to not to fall like beneath maybe even top 3. I think maybe sometimes like I don't know if ENCE does well for a while, or maybe honestly ENCE is like one of the only other teams that I think could challenge for a top 3 spot. There's not really anyone on the horizon right now that just screams at me that says like we're gonna bump Astralis even down to 4th or 5th. So
okay, but like I'm part of the Furia hype train.
Oh, so you are someone who likes to go for fool's gold. That's interesting.
Fool's gold.
That's always interesting.
No.
You know what?
Listen,
I'm gonna come back to that later on, so that you can
Right.
tell me more about how you like to be disappointed. Before we actually come back to you, let's go back to Dualism, and let's try to have her, quickly jump in on this, because I know you, man. I know you're sitting there thinking, you know what? These guys are sleeping on G2. These guys are sleeping on Vitality. They're gonna displace Astralis from the top 3. I know that's what you're thinking. But I'm going to talk about a few teams, Dua, and I want you to kind of, give me your thoughts. Liquid, goddamn, don't need to give me your thoughts. ENCE, Maui said it right there. They could probably edge them down a little bit. Vitality, Navi, G2, NRG with Stanislaw. Are we seeing teams that could maybe even get them out of the top 5?
I think that right now that top 5 is just it's so competitive, and I think that it is that if a team misses an event that's in that, top 10, so much will move eventually once people have one good placing, because everything's quite tight. And I just think that Vitality, I still think that they're one move away from being a top 3 team. I think they're obviously top 5. But I think there are a lot of teams that it isn't a clear, how do I put it? I think that Team Liquid at EPL showed that they have some weaknesses against a G2 that was expected to get completely dominated. And I think that when you have a lot of teams that can challenge each other, and it isn't just, okay, there are 3 teams and they will dominate everyone. I think it's hard to make a case that, the top 3 is untouchable for the other teams. I would say probably in that top 10, there are a few that actually, with the right string of events and the right sort of troughs and peaks for everyone else, it's not predictable.
Here's the thing, though. Drone, give me your take on this, because I'm looking at G2's map pool, and I hate to do this. I hate to do this, because I know that the second I start talking anything good about them, Phoebe's just going to be smiling away in the corner, being like, yes, my time will come. We will talk about that narrative. But G2 plays Dust 2. That's a map Astralis has occasionally had chinks in their armor on. G2's really good on it. They took Liquid to overtime. G2 plays Nuke. They beat Liquid. They beat some significant teams. And Astralis is getting weak there. Astralis is getting weak. It's not 31-0 anymore. G2 plays Vertigo. They're pretty good at it as well. It's a random-ass map. We don't actually know what Vertigo is going to look like at all. I still think it's honestly a little bit more of a coin flip, which favors the weaker team on paper more. G2 is really good on Inferno as well when their shots are going off. You already have that team. Now you look at Vitality. They've got a good map pool as well. They've got some great star power. They've got Zywoo, who's a one-man army, and Astralis, even if they've been historically good at beating down those one-man armies, that's not really true to the same extent for AWP players, unless Device has personally been having a field day, which has been happening, but it's not as reliable as Astralis will just nade you down every single step of the way. I'm seeing possibilities where they're not top 5 anymore unless they get their shit together at Cologne. Anything you want to say about that, Drone, before we move on to another team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. The thing is, though, like with G2, I feel like, and I mean, maybe I'm going to get a little hate specifically from Dualism here, that I think they can be good, but I think you need to have like a breakout performance from a Kenny S and a Shox like we had in the finals there. And like, as much as I love those guys and their players, man, it hasn't been happening as much recently as it used to in the past. And like, maybe the home crowd finals and maybe getting really pumped got Kenny on like, his game again, and he was hitting shots, and Shox at the end of the finals was looking unreal. He just started heating up the more and more the game went on. That pistol run where he like backward one tap the guy jumping over half wall banana was just ridiculous. Then he kills 2 more. And I think, yeah, you definitely need that kind of performance. Whereas when you were like watching Astralis when they were dominant, it was like one of the most boring games to watch because they didn't do anything insanely flashy. They just beat everybody. Like Maui said earlier about how Energy, when they beat them, were multi-fragging and whatever. But like older Astralis, you would never see them get multi-frag like that. Like people doing highlight plays against them was so rare because they were so structured and so good at communicating as a team. So unless G2 either bumps up their performance as a team from like, you know, just a Kenny S and a Shox going nuts and winning them some rounds that they probably shouldn't be winning, or Astralis falls even further from what they were and like is beatable by like that one-man performance, and they do have a good one. So I think it's possible they drop out of top 5, but I really think if they get their shit together, like you said at Cologne, they would be pretty dominant again.
See, so for me personally, go Mami, why not?
Yeah, if you guys think they do drop out of top 5, like who's the first to go, and what do you think? Who do you think for who?
What like players?
Like who do you think would come in? Yeah,
this guy's thinking of people cutting on Astralis already instantly.
Yeah,
listen, I'm telling you right now, Valde's been waiting for a long time. Okay, he's been waiting down in the dumps of North with that 25k salary, saying, "My time will come."
But no,
you guys took Magis.
North will never let him get sold, though. I just think that North...
Valde will cut his left hand off and say he can't use the WASD keys if he gets a chance to leave North and go to Astralis, okay? That's what's happening.
Who do you think it's, if that were to happen, who do you think gets dropped from Astralis for Valde?
Ooh, strong questions. I think we ask Phoebe first, because I have a feeling she's not going to give us a good stance otherwise, and she's just going to jump on the train.
Okay. See, I don't do the structure thing, right? I don't do that in-game analysis-y type stuff. So I'm going as somebody who just reads Reddit and Twitter comments, and I go, yeah, I'll agree with that person.
So you're irrelevant, is what you mean?
No. What I'm saying is, unless it's French, I know nothing. No, but a lot of people have said that Zip would be the natural person to cut, only because realistically it feels like the only option, I guess, in terms of, yeah, he clutches. Okay. But,
oh wow, thanks for diminishing one of the greatest players or the greatest characteristic a player can ever have within the Counter-Strike. Great analysis.
It's just imagine being the guy that has to be like, all right, we're cutting Zipnix. Like you just don't, like, who's gonna say that?
It's like, okay, what did he do? What's he even doing for our team? Just imagine a team beating without him, and everyone just going like, you know, Magisk is there because, you know, Magisk knows otherwise he's on the chopping block. He's like, guys, you know, what's this guy doing for the team? And Device just looks at him. He won a 1v4 last game, 2 1v2s, 4 1v1s, and yeah. Is there anything else I need to... He throws good nades.
Yeah, it's like we would have lost this round, and this round, and this round if it wasn't for him.
Yeah, so it's like, so Magisk, how much is a ticket back to, you know, whichever village you're from?
Village?
I don't know, man. Like, listen, I live in a country with 200 million people, okay? Denmark is a village to me. Oh I heard that they have 6 million people, and I was like, wait, we've got cities 3 times that size, man. I think Denmark's great, though. I do think Denmark's really great, though. Before, you know, I got that thrown on me. I actually quite like Denmark. I've been there, guys. I like that everyone's as tall as I am. So yeah. Anyhow, moving on, because, you know, I'm gonna quickly give some closing thoughts on Astralis, because honestly, I think Astralis we're gonna see them relegated to top 6, because I think Na'Vi is going to be top 5. Vitality I have hopes for, even if I'm kind of on the edge for them. I don't think I've seen enough from them to say, hey, you know, it's their time to be in top 5. And there's no fault of theirs in that they haven't been able to go to Blast events and whatnot for a plethora of reasons. So I think Vitality has a chance. We're going to get to see what they can do within Cologne. Beyond that, so we've already got Vitality and Liquid, Na'Vi. That's 4 teams already. I think Mousesports will be in top 5 by Berlin Major, maybe even by Chicago. Are they playing in Chicago? I don't remember. Can you check that up, Phoebe?
Yeah, I'll check. I got it.
Okay, so I think Mousesports is gonna be able to, you know, come out on top when it comes to top 5. No, they're not. Okay, so maybe not right now, but I do feel like Mousesports will be able to displace eventually, simply because I think Carrigan's always gonna have Astralis' number. No matter what happens, Carrigan will have Astralis' number. So they're going to be able to come out on top of it there. And then Carrigan's also in a position where he's always going to have a map pool. He's always going to be making sure that if he has talent to work with, they're getting better. So even if they can't personally displace them, I can see Astralis losing to Mousesports as a bad matchup so many times within quarterfinals of a tournament or semifinals of a tournament that they wouldn't be able to get the same kind of points within the ranking system. So I have a feeling that, you know, even if Astralis has teams that are worse than them, there's going to be teams that have a good matchup versus them pretty soon coming up. And that makes things a lot more tricky moving forward. Now, that's gone and done with. Let's talk a little bit about DAPS, because God damn, that stock just went up there. That stock is up there. Jack's, you know, Jack Etienne was asking him to come over before, saying, hey, you know, I can probably get you like a 12K salary. You know, that's probably fine. Now DAPS is just rolling around saying, I'm open to offers. What happened over here? Maui, how the hell did NRG get their shit together like that?
I don't think it's predicated on DAPS at all. I think their T side looked really bad, actually. Most of their T side was just like Ethan, Tarek, Breeze, maybe Cirque, I guess. I mean, just, hey, run out and try to get a kill. We're not even going to set you up. Just do it. And they did a lot. And then it's like, okay, now we can convert the 5v4. But if they didn't get that opening pick, then they were just lost. Their 4v5 kind of plays were pretty bad. They were just really flat. Like, okay, let's just throw some smokes like a mile away and just let them throw their counter utility perfectly at us now. I don't think their T side was that good. I think their CT side is what looked better. And I think, once again, that's just mostly kind of predicated on just like the players getting multi-frags, like some good help utility at times, so that players can, from anchor positions, could just shine a little brighter than they normally would, which DAPS has actually been really good at. But I think DAPS actually probably, individually speaking, performed pretty well this for this tournament. So that's something that went their way that doesn't always go their way. I mean, I say this, but he still dropped like a 0.9 rating, but normally he's dropping like a 0.78 or 0.82 or something like that, you know, just some bad rating. And because he hit a few more shots here and there and just maybe, you know, got a couple, just like, I don't know, maybe it's almost like when a team's dying, it's almost kind of resembles like, it's like the anti-honeymoon phase where it's like, you're still going to throw nades for people, but you're also going to just like, dude, I'm leaving this team anyways. I'm just going to shoot them too. And so sometimes DAPS just shot him a little bit, like, I don't know, forego the structure that he had in place before and was just like, you know what, I'm going to kill him.
Sometimes DAPS shot him a little bit. That's great. Great stuff.
Expert analysis.
So Drone, you're still a player. That means that you're still kind of hoping that DAPS picks you up. So I'm assuming you'll have slightly nicer things to say about him.
Yeah, I mean, I think DAPS is a great leader. I think the performance they had at Pro League Finals was a lot more attributed to the fact that, I mean, you know, DAPS as a leader, I don't know exactly how he is. I haven't played with him, actually. But, I mean, assuming he had a pretty rigid structure in place on that team. Yeah. And he's going to that finals knowing, like, you know, maybe the events prior, he's playing with like a giant guillotine over his head, like, oh, you better place top 3 or you're fucking dead, kind of thing. And, you know, at the finals, that guillotine like fell, his head's cut off. He's like, there's no pressure on this guy to perform, right? Yeah. And when you give a player that kind of freedom to, you know, play more of his own style, his own personal comfort level, you know, everyone's going to shine a little bit more in that sense. And if DAPS, maybe he forgoes a little bit of that rigid structure in the games, and he's like, you know, guys, Ethan, just walk out monster, see what happens, or like, you know what I mean, give him a little bit more.
Do you think,
a little more
slack, I'm gonna cut you off, do you think that the addition of Stan will be able to level them up significantly to a point where they can break through that barrier that they faced last year? Because right now, obviously, you're seeing that they have kind of deteriorated a little bit to a point where I talked to some of the players at ECS as well, and they were discussing that, hey, the removal of Fugly and the addition of Tarek was kind of hard for them, because at the end of the day, you're adding such a huge personality. And, you know, Fugly was comparatively a quieter kind of guy. You know, your team dynamics are very different. Everyone seems very mellow in that team. Even I'm a Pet, their coach, just looks like he's just kind of chilling around, being like, hey, what's up, guys? Adding Stan is a question mark for me. How do you think it's going to go? Do you think they can actually go further? Like, real talk. Because they were top 5 last year. That's still amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm on the same boat as you. It's a big question mark for me. And I thought the same about Stan when he joined, you know, Complexity. Like, oh, Complexity is going to get like so much better. And they realistically, I mean, they got a little better. but they didn't like make leaps and bounds, right? And I don't think so far from the teams he's joined, I've been super hyped, but I don't think he's had like, maybe he hasn't had the right tools in the team to make a breakout performance. On an energy, he certainly, you know, you got Ethan and Cirque and whatever, but yeah, no, he's a big question mark. He could do well. I don't know what he is like as a leader either. I haven't played with him. I don't think I've even played with him in FPL games even.
Okay.
So like I'm not at all sure how he is, but I think, I mean, if he's a good enough leader, which I do believe he is, or else he wouldn't have the accolades he does and the recommendations from everybody, then he would definitely be able to take this team to like the solid like top 3 maybe. Like they have the tools to do it. Like I think Ethan like is really good. I still think he's underrated. People kind of realize he's a good player, but I think he's like so much sicker than people realize. And if he's given the right role in a team and the right freedoms, I think he could shine like insanely. But yeah, no, it's the same for me. It's a giant question mark.
I'm going to quickly do some audio shenanigans. Is my mic crackling, by the way?
No, I don't hear any crackling.
Maui, is it doing that thing? No? Okay. Let me know if it does, Maui, because you're the only one who's gosh with me, so you know exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think it sounds okay.
All right, fine. That's good. Okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the one team that's managed to impress perhaps more than it should have, even if some of us thought that they could have won the tournament. Unfortunately, some of us turned out to be wrong. Mousesports. What do you guys think? Because honestly, I look at Mousesports, and here's the thing. I thought they would win the tournament because they'd go to the finals. They'd face Liquid over there. Liquid still would have a little bit of a choking problem, especially when you're up against Karrigan. Karrigan wins out in a best of 5 like that. But they ended up meeting them in the semifinals instead because Astralis went and, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. They lost to NRG, and that put them in a weird situation. Liquid even losing earlier on as well, putting them in the quarterfinals. So Mousesports went close versus Liquid, and Mousesports were looking pretty good otherwise. They, if I'm not wrong, didn't actually drop a single map up till the semifinals. And they did it in pretty convincing fashion. Now, admittedly, the teams they faced were kind of terrible. So you saw them going up against MIBR, who are, I don't know why they're in the top 10, honestly. Let's be honest here. We saw them going up against Hellraisers, who themselves have their own kerfuffles and kerfunkles going on. They did take a map off of Liquid, that's quite nice, but let's be realistic, you're not really a team that's going to do much more than potentially upset. And then finally, we saw them take apart a highly dysfunctional FaZe clan who had only beaten Tyloo and North to actually get to that point in the first place. So, no significant scalps taken this tournament. Can't say that much about it other than the map pool's amazing. But Phoebe, do you want to get in on this really quickly?
I think that I'll agree with what you said earlier, the fact that Karrigan is a good, in-game leader, obviously. I think that that's undeniable. And I think that compared to FaZe, where it's like, yeah, you've got all these veteran players that he had, and you have Olaf and Guardian. That's great. But on Mouse, he has younger talent and talent that, with his style of leading and his clear ability, I think that they didn't play particularly highly ranked teams or, as you say, claim scalps, but actually there's a lot there, and I think Woxic obviously is kind of just insane, and I feel like I'm not agreeing with you that they could have won the final because I have some sanity, but...
Are you sure about that?
Somewhere. But yeah, I do think that it's perhaps they're probably a team I've not seen many people talk about in terms of how well they did, considering they're still a young-ish team at the moment.
Maui, their own players were saying that they're being overhyped. What do you think?
I think they look pretty good, actually. I think they kind of remind me just a little bit of the Fnatic ran by Golden, in that the way they default is really like, it's kind of like where I talked about NRG being kind of this team that just like, dude, just run out, please try to get us something. Like Mouse have a way to get into every round, and then they have a way to like reset and play off of that. And it's a lot more like when we were seeing Ents come up, everything they did seemed like it had purpose. And I'm sure like Kerrigan and Chris J are both great at helping like situate their players at the right spots in like the mid round and everything like that. So it doesn't seem like it's like an accident or anything like that. And it doesn't seem like this is going to be like some, like this is their peak or anything like that. Like their ceiling is a lot higher than what we saw at this tournament. It's like these players are still gelling together. We saw an impressive performance from Woxic, but I mean, Chris J was also just like
insane,
super good too. Yeah, he's ownage. And I think Frozen, he's still getting adjusted to what Tier 1 Counter-Strike feels like and just how fast everyone responds to everything that everyone does all the time. So I think he has like the most like potential to rise at this point. Rops has been here before, and I don't know why versus Liquid, his body language was like really bad. That was kind of frustrating to watch.
Like, expand what you mean by that, by his body language was bad.
Oh, he literally pounded his table like on round 2.
I thought you meant in game. Never mind.
Oh no, yeah, no. He would.
Hey, I thought maybe he's jiggling when he shouldn't be jiggling. You guys are high level players, man. I like that's what I assumed. Anyhow, Drone, Maui just talked about how Frozen's going to be the 1 point of maximum improvement, and you obviously. You obviously became ridiculously better underneath Kerrigan. You looked like you were, the talent that you were supposed to be underneath him. And while he was in NB, even though that was a very short stint, where do you think this team goes, assuming Kerrigan can continue to unlock and improve and polish some of these, not necessarily all of them being younger players, because Woxic's been around for a while now, but less experienced players? Do you think that this is a team, because I'm looking at the top 10 right now, honestly looks kind of trash. You've got Faisal in there, Furia shaky at best, even if you are on the hype train. MIBR will be out of there pretty soon. Fnatic is still in top 10. G2's up and down. We don't really know about them just yet. Mousesports should be there, in my opinion.
No, I'm totally with you. I think Mouse should be there. And when I heard Kerrigan, obviously when we were in talks with him after the minor and after our little stint with him, he was deciding where to go, and we were having these conversations. It was like we knew Mouse was the likely option, and that it was definitely a thing that was going to happen. And I was like thinking, man, I'd love to get to play with Finnick still. I mean, that guy, I have nothing but good things to say about him. And if you allow me, I'll go on a rant all about that whenever you want, about Finn and how much of a great leader I think he is. But when I saw he was joining Mouse, I was like, oh my God, that team is going to be insane. I was like, that team is going to be so good. I think I messaged him on WhatsApp. I was like, hey man, it was great playing with you. I know that Mouse team is going to be like nuts, just because he's got Rops, and like you said, Rops was like, I think he never really got to the level people expected him to when he came into the scene. Yeah. When he started playing, everyone's like, damn dude, this guy is so good. And then he's not bad, he's really good, but he's not like
he's good. Yeah,
he's not like one of the best. Like I think he can get so much better, and I think Finn was just going to come into that team and unlock that from him, like you said. And I think Frozen's a point for improvement. I think if Finn has some more time with these guys. And like Maui said, the attitude that you saw with Rops, where he was like, hitting the table, maybe that's like a block for him. That might be part of him, and maybe that's why he's not performing as well as he should or could. But Finn is just really good with time. I mean, he improved us as a team like tremendously, and maybe it didn't show. We lost the Miter to Furia, and I mean, it turns out Furia is nuts. But we lost to Furia, and then more disappointingly, I think we lost to Windstrike after that. Like. Where we didn't really think that was going to be a thing. But yeah, he improved us tremendously in like the span of 2 weeks. And I can't imagine what he would do on a team like this with like a longer term. I definitely think their performance at the Pro League didn't show what they could be capable of at all. Okay. Especially with more time, I think, between tournaments. The guys are just going to be definitely top 10, like easily. I don't know why they're not there already. I expected that, but hiccups, bumps in the road.
Probably sure, with the tournament structure as well, to be perfectly honest. It's always a little bit shaky these days with who's.
You don't give much time to.
Exactly, you don't really get many tournaments to be able to bump up your rating the same way.
Right.
And of course,
it's almost like if they lost to FaZe in the BO3, then they would have played like Astralis or G2, or they would have played G2, and they might have beat G2, and then their ranking would have been bumped even more. Or something like that, especially if they beat FaZe then in the semis or something like that. It's like the way the HLTV ranking works. It's like It's almost like if you lose a game, you can bump your rating up more because you'll win more later because you'll have more opportunities.
I mean, every ranking's gonna be a little bit up and down.
Yeah.
The fact that Navi isn't in the top 10 obviously is a testament to that because of the subtraction of a player and addition of a new one and how that works. But let's go there, Phoebe. Let's go there. Why don't you take us there?
But where are we going? I have no idea
on a merry acid trip.
Acid trip.
Do you know what's almost better? Not is better, but almost better than G2. Just performing as I knew they would.
I guess someone has to believe in miracles.
I'm so glad Drone's here, man. George, you gotta get a webcam for next week.
Yeah, dude.
LDLC won a trophy. That's a thing that happened before G2 played the final, and I love the French scene, so that's hilarious to me. But yeah, no, G2. I called it. I said it on this podcast. I also placed a bet on a certain betting website I won't name, and
I'm glad.
But I bet £2 because I'm humble, and I made 10 quid.
300. Oh.
Luckily, other people had faith in G2, even if it was just statistics. But
what were the odds?
Yeah.
What were the odds? I'm curious, actually.
I mean, you're the business person. Do the maths. I bet £2 and I got £9.25 back.
Oh my god, those are crazy odds. That's like a 500.
Because I don't bet, I didn't do anything too crazy. But yeah, no. G2 did well in Dallas, right? And I as much as I'm a fangirl, I didn't immediately say, "Oh yeah, this is G2 forever." But I thought that what, Amanek, since they've added Amanek, they've made the playoffs of increasingly better tournaments. It started with that French event where it was G2 lost to French Frogs, yeah, but at least they got to a playoffs, which would have been embarrassing if they didn't. They did well in Dallas, yeah, lost to FaZe, was it?
I'm sorry, did you just say G2 getting to playoffs at DreamHack Tours is a good thing?
I'm saying that they failed in the past, so
Just
yes.
Playoffs, man. We talking about playoffs?
Yeah, at a DreamHack Open. Whoa.
But yeah,
Drone, I know that sounds appealing to you, but let's remember G2.
I was gonna say something too. I was gonna be like, listen, I wish I would have made the playoffs of a DreamHack Open, man. I don't know.
Don't worry.
God.
You've got NA's second best coach on your team.
Wait, we have a coach?
Yeah, isn't that all Davey does? He goes and dies first and then just tells you guys what to do.
Wow.
Oh, man. As much as I like to rag on G2, though, I do have a question. Do you think, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if you say yeah, because, I mean, everything's possible. Do you think Kenny and Shocks can stay at the form they were in at the finals of that major? Or not the major, God, that would be insane. The Pro League finals.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? They're not going to be together till the major.
Yeah.
I think that the thing with G2 is that they have finally kind of solved their kind of obsession with body, which was their first problem. And they've got the synergy right on the team, I think. And Amanek is crucial. I think that while people kind of were exaggerating him in the sense of as an individual player, he has been the thing that for some reason G2 are like, okay, you're here. Oh, I remember how to AWP. As Kenny just picks up the AWP and does stuff. And Shox is like, oh, I know I'm still insane and think I can IGL, but I can also get kills. Wow. Yeah, thank you, Amanek. You've really helped us. And it's just, there's, I don't know. The fact that Kenny was saying that he's got his mentality back,
Yeah.
I think that consistency's always been a problem for G2. But I think that there is something that Amanek brings, and I'm assuming also Malik brings a lot because he's been a very active coach compared to Niak, who's more of a manager, or Smith, who was a cheerleader. And I think that it's setting a good foundation for there to be a consistency in G2 where, yeah, okay, maybe not top 5 for them, but I think that top 10 in this kind of environment should be manageable. And they gave Team Liquid a good run. And I think that there were a few rounds that, whether that's Team Liquid outplaying G2 or G2 just making mistakes, could easily have gone the other way in a lot of times. Like if a player's looking the wrong way, you know, that's.
I'm going to pick up from there, and I'm going to throw it over to Maui, because Maui, let's be honest, you're the only one over here who actually understands the game on an analytical level. I'm sure Drone has muscle memory built in, but he's not going to be breaking down, all right, this guy in this round did this for my YouTube video. I know he's got your intro down, but after that it gets a little bit harder. So, Maui, tell me why G2 is good, and then tell me why they're going to fail. And what they have to do to not. Because, you know, I can say this, Joan can say this, Phoebe can definitely say this, that if Kenny S and Shox perform, G2 are good. But let's be real, there's more than that. And the reason why we've been saying that for so long is because, you know, Kenny S and Shox just don't perform. So we can't even start talking about going beyond that and about, okay, they need to do this now. They need to adjust in this way. They're not playing in this metagame, because we're all kind of just, you know, putting our hands together and saying, dear God, please bring these players back. Counter-Strike is just more fun with them. If they're back, tell me why they might still fail.
I'll start with their positives first, I guess, and then I'll get to their negatives, because their positives can be their negatives too, I guess, depending on the game. One thing they do really well is that Jax, Amanek, and Lucky, they all are just willing to create. They know, like, this team understands their win condition better than anyone. It's really nice to see, actually. It's super refreshing. Like, they know that, hey, if we just kind of like give Kenny a slightly like chaotic situation, he's so good, and he's still really good. Like, I mean, everyone's like, will Kenny ever fall off? Dude, he doesn't fall off. Like, he's been nuts for like 5 years straight. Like, it's like, maybe his teams are bad, but Kenny is always putting up nasty numbers, and he's hitting nuts shots every single game I watch. Like, it's not just like, oh, I missed a couple shots.
Same games.
No, like, okay, every tournament he's at, he's gonna have a couple just disgusting shots. But back to like something more concrete, G2 just understand their win condition, which is give Kenny a little bit of space and let him work. And that sometimes is space that's predicated off of just like, okay, go for an opening pick. Sometimes it's, hey, Lucky will just run out with a deagle while you have an op, and he's just going to take the fire of two different people. Now, Kenny, you isolate those duels with your op, and you just win both duels now. So we've just turned like a 4v5 into a 4v3 in the span of like 10 seconds, because you just won both duels because you knew where they were. And that's what like a good entry fragger should do for their second in player, is just create space for them, help them get info so that they can take duels a lot more comfortably. And Kenny, when he's taking duels that he's comfortable with, his reaction time is just never his reaction time has never fallen off. Like, he hits shots so damn quickly all the time, and he's always hit them. It's like he's on drugs like all the time. It's nuts. So why they will lose though in the future is because they actually like that chaos too much sometimes. Like, sometimes they don't reset during rounds, and sometimes they'll just like, sometimes Lucky will get that pick. So let's say they get the 5v4, and then they're like as an IGL, you have a decision. Do you want to just slow the round down now, or do you want to just take that advantage and just run with it onto the bomb site? And sometimes they just run onto a bomb site, and if they run into a stack or something, or they run into a guy that's like in too quick of a rotator position, they didn't slow the round enough that they're gonna like neutralize that guy. Like, sometimes you need to reset so that you can let the defense spread out again.
Yeah,
they just charge because they think 5v4, let's go. And
it's typical French CS, basically. You know, it's something that has always been a bit of a hallmark for them. And on that, Drone, do you want to jump in on anything Maui said? Anything, you know, kind of sticking out to you where you just want to whack it down?
Yeah. Just on the negative side of G2 a bit, I think you say Kenny S, you know, he's been consistently nuts for five years. And like, in the sense, I agree with you. He's never really gotten to a point where you're like, oh my God, Kenny, what happened to Kenny S, right? No one's ever been like, he's so bad now. But, you know, if you just watch that Liquid final, just between maps, like the difference in just Kenny was kind of wild. Like, one round Kenny's hitting shots like old Kenny, and you're like, this guy's unstoppable. And the next round, you know, maybe he misses two shots that you never think he's going to miss. And then the round breaks down. And like, going map by map basis, that Inferno game, specifically the first half, was like some of the weirdest Counter-Strike I've ever seen played. Like, I don't know if you guys remember specifically, it was so back and forth, and rounds were being won that should never be won, and timings were just so awkward, and like, it was just such an uncomfortable looking situation to be playing in. Like, especially for Liquid on their CT side, there were so many little things like timing. Like, somebody on G2 would just swing on lane as a T completely dry, and like catch somebody because they decided to turn real quick and look at and then while they're turning back, they get shot in the back. And it's just like, I feel like that performance was just too much of like a lot of things going really right for G2 to be consistent. Like it was a lot of like lucky timings. Definitely, I wouldn't credit everything to that because everyone gets lucky timings. Liquid got lucky timings too, right? But it's just so like Kenny was streaky. Shox wasn't hitting the same shots he was hitting at the end of the game, at the start of the game. And I think that's just too much of a question mark to be like, yes, G2 is going to be this good going forward.
So for me as well, I think one of the bigger points for me is I feel like Counter-Strike is actually developing to a point where it becomes harder and harder and harder and harder to rely on those individual players to the same extent. Now, I don't think G2 is doing that. I think G2 is putting in a bit of a structure. I think G2 is looking good. They've got a good map pool down and everything. Don't get me wrong. The problem still is that we've kind of been waiting and hoping for Shox and Kenny to come back for so long that I think even if they do, they're going to be top 10. I don't think they make it a top 5 without more structure, or if not more structure, then without better tactics and without, more preparation and more reads, because we also need to remember the other thing is that G2 isn't attending that many tournaments. That's just the reality of it. G2 isn't a team that's good enough to get invited to a lot of these tournaments. G2 won't be at Cologne next week, for example. So you're not going to be seeing them put underneath the pressure that a top 5 team does face, which is that, hey, we have a tournament every 2 weeks. Hey, you're going to have a chance to research us and we won't have a chance to research you. Hey, you're going to have a chance to figure out how we're doing things and we can't change it because we just don't have time. And at the end of the day, we've had motivation problems historically, all of these things. So I think G2 is giving us really good signs. I think they're going to make it back to the top 10 permanently, but pushing to top 5 consistently will be a hard one. Now, though, because we talked about the finals, let's talk Liquid. We know they're number 1. Well, he said it in an interview, and we know that confirms it just how, he said that all the map pool is terrible and that the format for this tournament is bad and that they should have been given a better seed, even though they didn't perform as well in the event, which kind of annoyed about that. But hey, all of that aside, though, here's the question. G2 isn't top 3 good. None of us disagree with that. Not even Phoebe, who is literally the equivalent of a Brazilian fan on Twitter for MIBR, for G2. She's got a jersey on and a jersey in the background. That's what Phoebe is. And even she doesn't think she's top 3 level. And Liquid got stretched.
Just saying.
And Liquid got stretched thin versus G2 at certain times. They lost a map, so they lost Nuke, and they almost lost another map, which went to overtime, which was Inferno, which is a map Liquid is godlike on. If it went to Vertigo, you could see them actually losing that out as well. Liquid don't look untouchable, but they've won the last 3 major events they've been to. Liquid could win the Intel Grand Slam, and I still think they might not have an error. What do you think, Phoebe?
I think it's difficult because it depends how we want to say an era is in terms of, Astralis and Fnatic's eras, complete domination. And I think that Liquid will probably never have a period of time where they are just clearing teams out, never dropping a map in a series, just like having no problems. I feel like Team Liquid are always going to have those games where they're going into like a quadruple overtime against a team that isn't even in the top 10, that just because that's Liquid. And I think that they will be the best team in the world, and I think that will be for a decent amount of time. But if we want to say that an era is an established time where they are the dominant team, they're getting the wins, but I think that the fashion in which you get those wins does also have some sort of impact on whether you call it an era or not.
Keep in mind that Fnatic was historically got a lot of very close wins even within those eras. That's history. History gets rewritten.
But it's a number in terms of Fnatic were winning a lot. And I think, you know what, if Team Liquid end up winning 20 tournaments in the next however long, okay, fine. I get that. But I think in the short term, I think that's what makes me go, they're not era. Then I'm not seeing them getting towards an era yet.
Okay. Maui, what are your thoughts on that? Kind of give me your model of what you think an era should be. Has what an era should be changed ever since Astralis did what they did? Because let's be realistic, they have kind of, they've kind of set the groundwork down all over again. So what do you think? Actually, let's go
Yeah,
to drone first. I want to hear drone thoughts first. Actually, now that I think of it.
See ya, Alex. Yeah, no, I think the definition of an era is kind of what you need to look at first in the terms of, like, okay, do you consider MIBR streak an era? Would you consider that an era?
I mean, probably, because
Or
realistically,
SK MIBR, you know?
MIBR, the
SK.
core also, did pretty well at a few majors as well. So
Right. So yeah, I guess if in that terms, you could get a Liquid era. What I think needs to happen is they definitely need to. I don't think they're far in terms of how good they are to be able to do it. I think they need to keep Astralis down, which is like the biggest thing for them right now. I think they could comfortably beat the top 5 right now, besides Astralis. Like, I wouldn't be
sorry,
confident.
you think
in them.
Astralis is their biggest threat right now? Just need to underline that. Okay, go on.
Right. I think if Astralis plays Liquid in another BO3, like, I'm never going to be like, Liquid has this BO3 against Astralis. And maybe that's me saying that because, I'm so used to Astralis and that they're just so good. But if they do fall from grace, like they kind of have been recently, and they don't step it up and they continue to, maybe not fall lower, but not, get back to the level they were, I think Liquid could improve a little bit more, and then they could kind of be a little dominant. They need to clean up those games, like you said, the quadruple overtimes or whatever they're getting.
Yeah.
And honestly, the G2 Inferno game went to triple overtime, whatever it was. I think a little of that was like, I don't think that would happen again if they played G2 again on Inferno.
Do you think that's the finals effect as well, by the way, or do you think that is literally just, G2 is just doing really well?
Yeah, well, I've never played a final, so.
I mean, for Liquid, Liquid isn't great at finals. Historically.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't think so. I think Liquid's fine now. I think they've gotten over that hump of that mental block of finals. I think they're past that, especially because if it was still a problem for them, I honestly, going into overtime against G2 would have made it worse. And I think they would have lost that map if it was still kind of a problem. Because you think about it, they're not in any grave danger of losing the series if they lose Inferno. They go to Vertigo, and at that point, things get a little wacky. But it's not like they needed to win that map or the series was over. So they go into overtime. Either maybe they start slacking if they have that mental block, and I think they would have dropped that map. I think they're overcoming that hump. So
John thinks that Astralis is the biggest issue for Liquid even now, which I can see where he's coming from. Maui, you mentioned earlier that you think ENCE is their biggest threat around top 3. You think ENCE is the one that can displace them. You think ENCE is the one that can beat them. Why do you think that, and why is Astralis not as much of a threat to you as it is to Drone?
Well, I still think Astralis is a threat. Also, I think Liquid have a lot of threats, actually. But yeah, I think just ENCE. I mean, we saw that at the last major where Liquid choked to ENCE or choked against ENCE. It just feels like ENCE are a team that isn't really moved by the ways that Liquid likes to win games. Because Liquid, the way they like to win games sometimes is kind of like, hey, we just need to get over the hump. We need to get this one round, and we're going to we have a lot of thoughts or whatever about how to do it. And sometimes those thoughts are drastically different than one thought from the other. Like, sometimes a team will recognize, hey, the only reason we lost this round is because this one guy got 3 kills in a spot he shouldn't have, and they'll go back to it. Liquid seem like kind of opposed to doing that. Actually, they've done both. Like, it doesn't feel like they have like this one like hey, we're so close to winning. This is like what we need to do to win. Like, it almost feels like there's so much input coming from that team. Like, if I had to assume, I would say like Adren's giving ideas, Stewie saying, yo, bro, throw me a banger at like banana or something. And then someone else is like Nitro's got his game plan. And then Naf is just like putting on that face that's like, get me out of this game already. And then Twist is just hoping like he has an opportunity to shoot like 3 people or something. Like, it feels like, yeah, it feels like they have like a lot of different, like, their opinions on how they need to cross that final finish line at games vary so much that like you'll see one round's approach is totally different than another round's approach, but then sometimes they just throw themselves into the same situation. Like, I can't tell like what their own idea is of their win conditions sometimes, and that like just doesn't bode well. And ENCE, if you can throw a lot of different situations at them, and if it's a half-assed approach, ENCE is ready to take on that challenge, and they win those a lot of the time. Like, if it's not like a really well put together play, ENCE stops it. ENCE is really good at stopping those kind of things.
And
Kind of
that's
disagree with you on Liquid point
okay.
though.
Ooh.
On how you were like, you think when they start getting into those situations where Stewie's like, bang me out monster, and you got Naf not talking, Twist wanting to do something, Nitro getting his ideas, and Adren kind of out there. I don't think that's the case. I think, and obviously I'm speculating, but just from the outside looking in is kind of what I see, is that ever since bringing Adren as a coach, I think they had that problem. I think it would be very reasonable to think that, Stewie had, they had too many cooks in the kitchen, you know what I mean? They had too many people throwing ideas out of how to win this round that they need. I think having Adren in kind of solidified Nitro's leadership a little bit, and I think he maybe takes charge more than he would have before. And now Nitro kind of has a fallback in Adren where, if things aren't going right, and maybe it happens in a game, rounds aren't working, you're not super sure what's going on. Adren, I think, is a good enough coach, and I think he's done a phenomenal job where, he can take that pause and be like, all right, guys, I think we need to change our direction, change our approach. I don't think you're going to get like a Stewie on a tactical pause being like, fuck this, bro, just flash me monster. Like, I don't think that's happening. Like, I think Adren's like, nah, guys, let's just calm down, keep it level-headed. Actually, I think Thorin touched on this a little bit. He made a video not long ago about
the Adren video. Yeah.
Right, and I think he's got it right, where Adren's good at reeling them back into that calm, relaxed state where like that isn't a problem.
I would actually, now that you mention it and put it that way, I think I agree more with that from what we've seen from them recently. When I think of them versus ENCE, I just think back to the major where I feel like it wasn't as solidified as it is today.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So one of the important things that I kind of want to point out is that there's a very big difference in this. It was either a Reddit comment from a random user or a Reddit comment from Thorin. Big difference.
Oh,
but
God.
I thought the point was good.
Same thing.
You better hope he's not watching.
I thought he's not, and not this later. Let's be honest. One of these people is the research assistant. One of these people is someone who occasionally retweets and doesn't actually read the article or watch the video. So hey, and the fourth guy is you. I'm sorry, Drone, but you're an MDL. Okay, Thorin's made his views about MDL clear. hey, it could be better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I got the best
I meant to say it could be worse. Oops.
Wow.
Anyhow, back to it. So someone said that ever since Stewie's kind of been integrated properly into this team, Liquid goes for a lot more of a faster paced style of play. And, sometimes they go for very heavy, high contact type of play because the way that they're structured seems like if you're going to wait around, you might end up capitulating because a lot of their players are kind of those kind of players who do have some nervousness issues, who do have some sort of sicknesses. You don't really have that kind of iron-willed, Nico, simple kind of guy who's just going to be like, yeah, I'm good. Let's do this. Let's blow some heads off, even when there's 30 seconds left on the clock. That's where potentially you could see the kind of confusion Maui's talking about. And if you compare it to now, the way that they've actually moved forward from that confusion seems to be adopting a much faster paced entry-heavy style of play, especially with Stewie on the entry. That's not a style of play that's multi-dimensional, because that doesn't necessarily mean that they've eliminated their issues that were at their core last year, which is when they were playing, like the mini Astralis, where they were much slower. If they're forced to go slow again, because realistically you can't be the best team in the world without having a multifaceted approach to Counter-Strike, are they potentially going to get fucked? That's kind of my question.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I just think, I mean, you make a good point. They play to their strengths now a lot better with Stewie and Twist, especially on that entry-heavy style. I mean, I can't think of a player on Earth who's like real happy that Twist is about to walk in on you with an AK or a Krieg. Like, that guy is insane. But they're definitely playing to that strength, and I don't think they've been tested enough to where they have to, really make those important, instinctive late-round decisions quickly, where like hesitation kind of gets you killed. And I think if something were to push them in that direction, we haven't seen that, and we'd have to see how they adapt. I'm confident that they could do it, especially under this new leadership style that I think is in there. But it might take a couple goofs to get there. So yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Fair enough. Maui, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I just don't think they've been tested, that they've been forced to play a slow style as much. I'm trying to just think of rounds where they did whittle down the clock a lot, but it doesn't... nothing really strikes me like really hard as much as... I mean, I feel like I saw so many contact plays just at kind of random points in the round more so than any kind of like late round hit. That
I mean,
was
thinking
like
back, Nuke,
premeditated.
I think was a bit slower, and they ended up losing that map, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Phoebe, is there anything you want to say about Liquid in general, not about the specifics? I know.
I was gonna say. I mean, the thing is, no, it's Vitality is their biggest challenge. I mean, that's my only. Summit. Never forget Summit. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, what?
never forget the LDLC major.
Never forget that LDLC won a tournament on the same weekend as G2 got the finals, I guess. What tournament was
I've got
that,
to
by
say
the way?
It was the ESL like national championship where they played the dice, and the guy in the final round.
Nice.
It gets better. It was on Nuke. It was bomb was planted by LDLC. CT from the dice. I want to say it was. I can't remember who, but he realised he had no time on the clock, so he starts to type, and Machine's like, "Oh, he's obviously typing GG in the chat." No, he typed kill into console and pressed enter, and that is how the game. That is how LDLC won.
Hey, you go out in style, man.
It's so French.
Listen. Okay, first question. Why was Machine commentating over the ESL National Cup? Second question. Why do you know the LDLC rounds in the ESL National Cup better than the G2 rounds in the ESL Pro League finals?
One, it was at the same venue. They did it before the final. So Machine and Henry G casted LDLC versus the dice. Two, look.
It really sums up the French team, doesn't it? French frogs, the dice.
They're good names.
What's Existence's team again?
Gamer Legion.
Here we go.
That's a proper org and everything.
Yeah.
Gamer Legion's all right. Yeah, Gamer Legion's kind of legit actually.
It's the team with HS on it, yeah.
Yeah. And Screama's on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
Apparently.
so back to you, Phoebe.
No, but Vitality. Vitality are gonna do some stuff to Team Liquid. That's.
I'm gonna need a little bit more. I'm
going to tell you guys what I'm going to take Phoebe's point and make it for her because I need a mansplain like that. She thinks that Vitality is and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Phoebe. She thinks that Vitality's style is specifically suited to either outright winning against Liquid in situations where Liquid is on the T side. I'm assuming because of Vitality's potentially explosive firepower and very good AWP play coming out from Saiwu, where on the CT side he's particularly good. So Liquid's fast-paced style of play could be effectively counteracted by that. They're not bad at utility usage either in order to enable Saiwu, and that could be problematic. And on their T side, they've got a nice little change of pace as well. Vitality could potentially kind of be the kryptonite to Liquid in the same way that TSM, who are now Astralis, was the kryptonite of Fnatic back in the day when Fnatic was number one. What do you guys think about that? I'm assuming that's what you were saying, Phoebe.
Yeah, cool. That sounded right. Yeah, that sounds legit. That sounds like words. Go with it.
I mean, I see the logic. I don't think they're just like Zaiwu, great player, insane. I think that kid could be like just the X factor in any game that could just completely take over and win. But I don't see them being consistently good enough at the things you were mentioning to shut down a Liquid, especially in like a series of like a BO3 or a BO5. I don't think they can. I think rounds they'll look good against them. I don't think they have enough of all of these counters to them down and like to a science enough to beat them over the course of 3 maps.
Okay. So Maui, I'm gonna cut you off right now. I'll give you time to get your point in on that later on when we talk about Vitality in the context of Cologne. Phoebe, do you have anything you want to bring up about Pro League before we move on?
I'm still proud. I'm still happy. It was further than Mouse got, so at least you don't get to gloat. So I'm happy.
I'll get to gloat soon. Don't worry. G2 didn't make it to Cologne. Anyway,
Chicago though.
Cute. You're comparing the Cathedral of Counter-Strike to IEM Chicago.
Well, I mean, if Team Liquid had kind of, just accepted their invite in the first place, that would have been alright.
Oh,
anyway.
Of course you need handouts. Of course you need handouts. You're a part of the French CS. Hey, anyhow. Okay, so we've got Cologne. We've got probably the best tournament of the year. I don't care about majors. being majors, Cologne is better. That's just how it is. It's got a better format. It's got all of the best teams because majors have to be fair. Cologne doesn't have to be fair. Cologne can just invite people, and then when people decline their invitation, Cologne can just host a different qualifier and get them there anyway. So
at least they told G2 about that one.
That is true. Not to say that G2 didn't already know that they were not good enough to be invited, but hey, so Cologne, we see a lot of interesting storylines develop. Liquid for the IEM, for the Intel Grand Slam Challenge, obviously a big one, but we're going to talk about who we expect to win later on, and I think we can tie that into that. We have Astralis, Big, Ints, FaZe Clan, Fnatic, MIBR, Mousesports, Navi, NIP, NRG, Renegades, Team Liquid, Vitality, Heroic, Furia, and MVP PK. Let's talk about teams who need to prove themselves by making playoffs at the very least before we basically say, what the hell are you doing? We don't know what's going on here. Fnatic, Big, FaZe Clan, MIBR. I'm not going to include NIP in that, and let's say Furia.
No Mouse.
Is there any?
Yeah, what about Mouse?
I think Mouse makes it to playoffs. That's
but I think they need to.
I think they.
But they're not. I feel like they're not in as much trouble as the teams I've mentioned. Mouse is more like, okay, even if they don't make it, I'm gonna say, hey, they're an unproven team. This and that. Fnatic, MIBR, FaZe
Seems
are
pretty biased.
Big. Me?
I think Mouse really has to prove themselves as well, though.
All right, let's throw them into the mix as well.
Yeah.
Let's go with Fnatic first because we didn't talk about them in the context of Pro League. Fnatic messed up, guys. Fnatic did the thing where they make 2 finals and then they don't. Fnatic lost to Heroic. Fnatic lost to NRG in a best of 1, so that doesn't count to the same extent. But they lost to Heroic, which isn't expected of them. Heroic might be a good enough team, whatever. It doesn't matter. What do you think Fnatic need to do to show we belong in the top 10, even with all of these modified rosters and up and coming teams, Phoebe?
Fnatic are so weird in the sense that it's either they all show up and seem to do well and they will win, or 1 or 2 of them are just like, oh, I'm not feeling it today, and they just crumble. And I just think that they're a team that, I've been saying this for a few months, where it's just, there isn't an obvious change to make in the sense of, it's not like you can say, oh, we'll bring this player in or we'll do this, and it will fix their problems. They're just a team that will look strong and you think, oh, this is the Fnatic we've been waiting for. Yeah, okay. And then, it is just like, oh, Twist is not feeling it today, and oh, JW is holding the AWP the wrong way round, and suddenly they can't just fluff their way through a game. It feels like they really have to put a lot in to actually get the results that they should be getting, considering the fact that they are meant to be a top 10 team at the moment. The big question mark.
That's true. Maui, throw me your shots on that, because Phoebe discussed high variance. Phoebe discussed about how players are either all on or all off. Why does that normally happen in the team? Oh, wise coaching one.
Well, it's kind of like been Fnatic's hallmark style. Even though when they were dominant for a while, they still played what I would consider one of the, I guess, puggier styles like that ever was successful in Tier 1 Counter-Strike. It was a lot of just people calling for their own plays, and then when they had their run with Pronax, it was like, it felt like he was mid-rounding just exceptionally well. He would center the team and everything like that. Golden was like in the same boat. When he was IGLing for them, he would just like let people do a lot of individual just like information gathering, and then sometimes make read plays like off of it. With this lineup, it feels like they're like half-assing it between structure and between looseness. And I don't know if they really have a true strategical identity. Maybe they're running like standard, kind of 3-1-1 default looking stuff a lot of the time, but like it's like they're not balancing, they're not like walking the line between like letting players have individual like freedom and structure successfully. And it's a hard line to walk when you have the personnel you have, when you have JW, he's going to want to, you know, do like just walk off with an op somewhere and try to do something. I don't know. It's like it just feels like their whole style just isn't fleshed out, or they don't know what they want to do to win, other than having 6 CT sides, because all of them are just putting all this faith into Brolin, but he's just kind of turning out to be a pretty average pro, honestly. He's really been like, JW hyped this guy for like 3 months or like 6 months, and
I think everyone
like,
did, honestly. I think everyone hyped him for a long time.
Dude, why? Like, this guy's not like, I have really like, it's so lackluster. Like, it's really just like, are they just like watching Brolin DM or something instead of DMing themselves? It's ridiculous.
It's like, goddamn, man, he's got them flicks. Yeah, you get that headshot, boy. You get that headshot.
Yeah,
Drone,
it's like, yeah, it's just Crimson Brolin show, it feels like to me.
Most of the times it is. I agree with that, especially, you know, surprised that Crims manages to keep it together sometimes. But Drone, where does Fnatic need to get to for you to say that, hey, guys, you realize I'm technically not under contract, right? You know, if you're going to perform like that, you might as well bring me in.
I mean, I think they have a lot to do at this tournament specifically. I mean, you mentioned they made those 2 finals in a row and then kind of just disappeared. So the playoffs is a necessary thing. They must do that if they want to be on people's radars, and they're barely in the top 10 right now. If they make it deeper into, I mean, I honestly just can't imagine them any farther than just making playoffs right now, just because of how they're playing. The problems with their team. I mean, the stylistic thing, like you said, they don't know really where they want to go in the direction of like, they're not building around JW by any means. We're making their team, we're like, JW, go B-hop into Cash B and op somebody. It's like, that's not like a thing. And they're trying to tiptoe that line, and they're trying to decide, you know, what we're going to do. I don't think they have it solidified, but again, like, not a lot of teams do either. It's just a question of like, why, given the personnel they have, none of them are exactly like, you know, you mentioned Brolin, he was hyped, and he's not exactly living up to what he was hyped to be, but they can't, on an individual level, I don't think many of them can challenge the people that are in like the solid top 5 right now. Yeah. And I think in that sense, when you have that kind of a situation happening, you need to move toward like outplaying them more than, you know, star power. And they just aren't doing that right now. And in order to get on someone's radar, they need to bump that side of it up, or someone needs to have the tournament of their life. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that would probably, like, it needs to be a JW, in my opinion.
That's definitely possible. I mean, he's probably one of the bigger players who's the please come alive kind of player. There's 8 playoff spots, which means that a lot of people are going to be disappointed. I'm going to assume all 4 of us think that Liquid, Astralis, ENCE, and Na'Vi will probably be in playoffs.
Yeah.
Maui?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Na'Vi exactly, but Boomich is just a straight up upgrade.
We can assume.
So
we can assume as much, you know. So I mentioned Big, FaZe Clan, Fnatic, MIBR, Furia, and Vitality as the 6 teams that need to prove themselves and that, you know, need to make playoffs to say, hey, we're kind of relevant. Only 4 of them can make it, and Mouse Sports as well. So actually, out of 7 teams, only 4 of them can make it, and we have to keep in mind that, you know, there's obviously always upset potential. So I'm going to ask everyone for 3 teams out of these 7 who they think will make it to playoffs, because I feel like it's unreasonable to expect all 4. So I repeat, the teams are Big, FaZe, Fnatic, MIBR, Mouse Sports, Vitality, and Furia. Who do you think is making playoffs from those 3 teams, Phoebe?
Vitality, obviously.
Why do I ask you?
I think I'll agree. Mouse really have to. It is that sort of. If they fail to make playoffs, I think that's really rough. Considering when you look at it, yeah, there's a lot of good competition, but Mouse have the skill and Carrigan, so really should be able to kind of push aside a few of these teams. Although it also does depend on how the group. I don't know what the seeding is going to be. Whether it's that teams. No, but I don't know if they're going to use that. Oh, teams rank each other.
No, I don't think. That's a really good system, honestly. I think that they only use that for the major, though. I think this is going to be ESL seeding.
Problem is recent. It's like people just go, "Oh, that team did well. Let's put them as number 5," and it's
I mean, if
It's
all
alright,
teams agree
but-
on that, that's probably, it's their fault.
I guess. See, I'm saying FaZe to do it.
Okay, FaZe, Mass Sports, and Vitality. Why do you think FaZe?
Because I feel like FaZe are at the position where they will make playoffs and will
Right.
basically just be there for somebody to just swat out the way in order to go further. I think that they have. They're good, but they're not great at the moment, and I think that.
I'll take you on that. So, Drone, again, let's keep it a little bit compact because I'm going to shape the topics from that. Top 3 teams from the list that I mentioned before you think will make playoffs, and why, very quickly for each of them.
My for sure's are Vitality and Mouse. Those are 2 absolute confidences.
Okay.
My third one is a little bit harder. I'm on the Furia hype train, but I want to throw a wrench and say big. And I mean, my reason
I thought
just
there's
briefly,
only one crazy person in this call.
Yeah. Well, I'm a God B fan. What can I say? And a Tabson fan. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, Vitality and Mouse. I think Mouse is just too good right now, and I think they're gonna just keep getting better. So I think this tournament they have something to prove, and they're gonna prove it. I think they're gonna make playoffs. I think they could go even deeper. Vitality is just, they're a strong team. I agree with, as much as I'm not on the G2 hype train, I am a little bit on the Vitality side. I think they're really good. I think they could do great. And big, I have faith in Gob and Tabson. That's all I'll say for now.
Okay. So Vitality, Mass Sports, big, right?
Yep.
Maui, are you giving me anything different?
I like, we didn't even talk about them, but somehow NiP always makes the playoffs. Like, they just
NiP
always
has
do
a
it.
player change, though. Don't forget that.
They still do it. Like, I don't know how. They just always make playoffs. So
That might
it's
be magic, bro.
yeah. They play with like such like I don't know. They play so well consistently that I might shoe them in, but I would put Mouse there. I actually might take Vitality out, but because ESL seeding puts Vitality as like the 4th best team in the world, they're gonna have a really easy route, so I have to put
Are you
them
sure
in.
that's ESL seeding? That's HLTV seeding. I don't know if that's ESL seeding.
No, it's ESL. ESL has Vitality right now as it's the 6th best team in the world.
Yeah.
So, like, I think their seeding is going to be so favorable that they'd have a good chance to make it. But like for like a more like kind of dark horsey kind of team, I'm actually pretty interested in MIBR. Actually, I think Lucas is really good. I think he's been kind of under the radar for a long time because he always kind of was in Henny's shadow, and I love Henny. He's one of the most exciting players to watch, period. But Lucas is kind of what they need from a player, I think, right now. So if that can motivate Fur to actually join a deathmatch server for once in his life, and maybe get Fallen to just feel more comfortable, that he doesn't have to reel in Phelps all the time, because Phelps is like IGL's worst nightmare, because you literally just look at your radar and you're just like, why is he there? Like, and then it's like you just like are like half looking at your radar, you're half looking at your screen for the rest of the round until he dies or you die. So I think that could actually solve a lot of issues for them. So if I had to pick 3 though, I'd pick, just for the hell of it, I pick MIBR, I pick I pick Vitality, and I'll pick FaZe.
He didn't pick Mouse.
No, I didn't pick Mouse.
How did FaZe come in there randomly? Like you talked about NIP, you talked about MIBR, you talked about, and then he's like,
by the way, FaZe.
FaZe.
That's not a train of thought. That's just like a Brownian motion going on in your head.
Yeah, no. FaZe just because like FaZe just in the last tournament, we didn't really talk about them that much, but they showed they have a lot to work with, and that they have, I think, like critical errors that they can work on as well. And I think it's going to be really easy for FaZe moving forward for Yanko to identify, just like early round, like just like, guys, we got to just make sure we use our utility. We can't get picked off. Like, we just faced Kenny S, who's one of the most like crazy early round players in the game. We can't get caught by Lucky just 1-deking us. Like, all of these things are things that are just so clear for Yanko and Neo when they look at their what went wrong of the last tournament, that it's like it's almost like playing G2 was the best practice that they possibly could have gotten, because it exposed their errors the most of any team like that could have. And then they also lost to Maus, so like maybe. So I don't know, logically maybe Maus should beat them, but I think FaZe they
now we're talking
really
logic. Well. Okay, that's nice.
No, but FaZe,
I'm glad
FaZe
we got
learn
there
so well. Like they have players, they're
like areas and fixing two different worlds.
Wait, I'm sorry.
But their areas to fix are so easy.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you off right there. Okay.
Get him in a straitjacket.
What do you mean FaZe learned so easily? Like.
Okay.
Like, listen, I get that you were stuck in Katowice for Liquid as well. So your analysis against Ents was for back then. Now you're giving me analysis of FaZe from back when Carragher was in their team, where they fixed their mistakes. You know,
Yanko's proven that he can look at problems though and fix them. I think.
No, he's proven that he can look at problems. He hasn't proven that he can fix them yet.
Well, he made them pretty bad. Like barely top 10 to like pretty confidently top 7, so I think that's something. That's like
so therefore they're making playoffs of Cologne.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that. the thing about FaZe is like they have so much propensity to fail you too, and it's like watching a French team. Also, it's just like you don't know, like, are you gonna get mostly G2. You don't know what kind of phase you're going to get. You don't know what kind of G2 you're going to get tournament to tournament sometimes. But I have confidence as my voice cracks, because I have no confidence that FaZe is going to make playoffs.
FaZe will make playoffs.
Yeah.
So now that we're done with, how is Phoebe's prediction of Vitality more reasonable than yours of FaZe?
French CS is back, that's why.
Anyway, so this is something I expected, and I'm not talking about Maui being, what I expected was no one would pick Furia. Guys, why is everyone's favorite team not, one of the bigger teams to go through? Drone, I heard you say that, man. I heard you be like, I was on that train. I was supposed to pick them.
Dude, my thing was it was Furia or it was Big, okay? That was my third choice. I knew the two. I didn't know who I wanted to go with. The problem, though...
I'm going to flame you pretty soon for Big 2. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm ready for it. Listen. I think Furia has garnered too much attention at this point to slip by as that underdog team that's going to surprise people and win. I think if they beat a Charles on that BO1, and I was like... going into that BO1 of that game, and on Nuke especially, I was like, I can see Fury winning this. It's a BO1. I can see them upsetting and taking it to be close. They did. What happened after that is beating them in the BO3 is something I don't think anyone expected. I don't think anyone thought that was going to happen. And I think that got a lot of attention. And now I think people are going to do a lot of research on Furia, and their playstyle doesn't do so well against teams that do a lot of research again. At least in my opinion. They're very much catch you off guard, get in your face, catch you sleeping kind of team. And if a team's ready for that, I don't know how well that would continue to work. So I think that's going to stop them in this tournament. And I think Big has flown a little bit under the radar recently. Enough that I think Gob can pull something out. Listen, I'm a Gob fan, man. I don't know what you want to say.
Gob, yeah. See... All right, guys. Let's talk Big. Let's talk Big. You think Big over? Actually, you know what? I'm with him on this one. You think Big over FaZe?
Yeah.
I do think Big over FaZe.
Big over.
That's fine. Mibber's trash. No, seriously. Actually, I don't know how Lucas is gonna do, but I feel like Fallen at this point is like, all right. Who can I recycle now? Because Furia's contract buyout just went up 17 times because they're in a 5-year contract now. Because that's
5
a thing.
Are we talking about that?
We're gonna talk about that. Don't worry. That news is in the end. Because we're probably gonna cut news apart and do that into a separate video. But so I feel like MIBR is just gonna be like, hey, you. Remember that honeymoon period that new teams are supposed to have? We're kind of hoping that you give that to us. And Lucas is just standing there like, but I was excited to play for a Fallen team. I thought we were going to be the best in Brazil. Yeah, Furia is in the same tournament as us. We don't really know if we can say that about ourselves anymore, but we'll figure that out. But Phoebe, tell me why Drone is an idiot and Big won't go through.
I mean, I can sum it up in about 4 words. No Smooya, no party. So,
Do you want to sum it up in more than 4 words?
no, as much as I'm joking on that, I think that there is something to be said for the fact that when Big had Smooya, there was something about them, right? Where it was that sort of, wow, they've suddenly done well, and there's a bit of excitement. And now I watch Big and I go, okay, oh, you're there.
Well, what's exciting about Xantares? I mean, he's just insane.
Yeah, but it's not the same. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased and I just like seeing British people do things.
No, she hates him.
Yeah, obviously. But I don't know, like I can't see this big lineup doing what they did with Smooya a year ago in Cologne. It's just, I wouldn't be happy to be proven wrong, but I just don't see it. Even with Xantares, yeah, cool, great, but they also have Dennis.
Yeah, people forget that one. People forget that point. You know, I was hoping someone would bring that up so that, you know, Drone just goes like, damn it, I forgot. I don't watch enough EUCS for this.
Dennis.
Oh, okay. Dennis. You know what? I'm gonna give you a chance to defend yourself, Drone.
Yeah, I'm a little ganged up on right now. I feel a little attacked. I got the Brit who's talking about no Smooya, no party over here. I got you hating on everybody on the team and talking about my
No. I think Tabson's legit.
Tabson is legit. I think Xantares, if he's used right, is like really legit. I think
if Xantares is used right, how long have I been hearing that exact phrase?
Listen, man, no one's used him right. No one's unlocked Xantares.
I agree. The guy needs to learn English so he can get a good in-game leader over him.
Aren't they teaching him German now as well?
Yeah.
They were saying that they were considering getting him German lessons instead of English, and I just think, oh.
You ever see the German police dogs where you just yell commands at them when they go bite people? It's like Xantares venturing on a site, and God just screams a German word at him, and he goes and kills everybody.
I have my clickbait title. Drone calls Xantares a German police dog.
Listen, he's vicious. He's good at his job. And
is he a cute boy you want to cuddle afterwards?
We can talk about that on the news side of this, I guess.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I do. I'm gonna admit my big pick was really biased because I have a big bias. I really like Gob. I like Tabson.
Okay.
As people as well as players, I think Gob is like still one of the best IGLs ever. I mean, obviously, I don't think many people would disagree with that, and I think he can.
I would, but okay.
Really?
I don't think he's one of the best IGLs ever. I think he's overblown. I honestly think that he had a chance to prove himself as just that. He's shown himself to be. I think he's an MSL type guy. I think he can do a lot with the players he's given. I think he's a great IGL, but I don't think he's one of the best ever. In all fairness, I don't know him from before, like 2016 was when he went to NRG. I don't know him from before then. I've watched some of the old Mousesports stuff as well with Gobby in it, but I don't think he's one of the best ever. I think I think he's overblown because people like Torren, because people like Lurpus, because people like that want to go ahead and say that, hey, this guy's really good. This guy's tactical, but he's always had problems in terms of he's never been able to get the right pieces. He's never doing this. He's never done that. Cool, whatever. I just don't think he's one of the best ever. It's a bit much to call him that. Maui, what are your thoughts on Big?
Big suck. Like,
Woo!
What did they even make money at Moche Esports XL? Dude, they lost to Virtus Pro. They're bad. Xantares had like a 0.8 rating in that tournament over several series. Like it's not looking good in the big.
Listen, if we're going to take the outlying wins as not evidence of a team being good, we have to take the outlying losses as not evidence of them being bad, okay? We can't say G2 is not top 3 and then say Big is bad because they lost to that Virtus Pro.
To the Moche Esports XL. They couldn't even close out that tournament. I don't even...
Wait, I'm sorry.
I don't even know.
Does Big even play other than that, though? Like, when's the last time they went to a big event?
No,
that's what I'm saying. These
that
guys
was their last thing.
So fresh and so new.
Dude, they played 10 days ago and they got rolled by VP. Like, it It was bad, and that was
They're
just,
hiding strats for Cologne.
they're
Final.
hiding strats for Cologne. Yeah, that's that would be the
end
only
big.
thing I could give them.
Let's end big on that note because I think Jordan's done.
Can we at least all agree that Big is exciting to watch when they do play in big tournaments? That it's no, you don't.
The only excitement I have watching them
Tabson.
is hearing Torren give more excuses about Gobi.
Dude, Tabson has fallen off a cliff too. He's so bad now. Like he's just like he had like one good major, 3 or 4 majors ago,
No,
and it was
I think Tabson's legit. I do think that Tabson's
Yeah, we're
legit,
gonna need to move on. Or I'm gonna throw hands.
We're gonna move on before we cause another MDL team to split it apart. Not that it's not going to anyway because it's an MDL team. But hey, anyhow. So let's talk who you guys think is going to win this tournament. No, Phoebe, you can't pick Vitality. Let's talk that because this is an interesting one when you actually go into it, because I can see why people might think Astralis might not win this. I can see why people think Team Liquid might win this. I can see all of these different things, but I want everyone to pick one favorite and one dark horse. I personally don't think Liquid's going to win this. I think Liquid's had a mad streak. I think Liquid's been too good for too long, and I think that Navi and ENCE in particular have been not playing for so long that they're not going to be as predictable. So Liquid themselves, who have demos galore to be studied, they're good, but like we mentioned before, they're not the same kind of good that Astralis was, which was where even if you know what's coming to you, you can't really do much because they're just going to kill you anyway. I don't think Liquid's on that level of good just quite yet, even if they're like an amazing team. They're great, they're fantastic, but I don't think Liquid's going to be able to win ESL One Cologne, because on either side of the bracket, they could come across an ENCE or Navi, which is going to be likely. It's very unlikely that ENCE and Navi both end up on the same side of the bracket, and Liquid isn't there, realistically speaking. So I think both of those teams have a very good matchup versus Liquid, and they could potentially even eliminate them before the finals. So I don't think Liquid is winning. For me personally, I think I'm going to save my picks to the end, because I want to hear from Drone first, because you know what, he's kind of been brought back down to earth now that we've established that Big sucks, and I think he needs a chance to redeem himself.
So I'm picking my favorite and the dark horse.
Big. Yeah.
I mean, we already know that. Yeah, we know my dark horse is Big, obviously, and
at least you admit it's a dark horse.
No, absolutely. I don't think my pick is like. I don't think I'm in the majority. I don't think I'm. Like, I'm not going to go put $50 on Big making it, right? But I'm going to say I think that's like...
Would you put $2?
My prediction, if I had to say, I think Big is going to upset a little bit at this tournament and make it into playoffs. But... Stop shaking your head at me. You can't see me, but I'm looking. I think Liquid... I think this is going to be the start. If there's going to be a Liquid era, I think this is going to be the start of it, and I think they're going to win this. That's my official
okay.
prediction.
Don't pick Vitality, Phoebe.
Well, first I just want to say the only upset Big are going to pull off is upsetting you when they lose Drone.
Can we go back to the GT Liquid final?
It's a final. At least they got there. Big aren't even making playoffs, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, enjoy the once-in-a-lifetime final.
Oh, I will. It's 2017 again in my head. But, I mean... I see Liquid winning the Grand Slam in Chicago when there's, as you say, there's demos and stuff, and people are going to want to be taking Liquid down. I think every single team is going to be looking at Liquid, remembering the money on the line for that final to just deny them a Grand Slam. And I think that, okay, you say I can't pick Vitality, but I don't play by the rule. I'm saying Vitality do it because I can, and I'm not letting a man tell me what to do. And I think that they will meet Liquid in the final, and I think they will remember that they'll... I'm not doing a French accent, but I'm imagining them going, look, we hate Shocks now, don't we?
Look,
so
we hate the Shocks now, don't we?
Us.
We hate him, huh? We hate Shocks.
Exactly. Yes. And they're going, yeah, we hate him, but they beat our countrymen, and so we now need to...
They beat our countrymen?
Yes, and then it's like, yeah, we got a... how do I want to phrase it that way? We're going to bend over those American boys and give them our baguettes. And
I'm not saying that in a French accent.
I don't think you could if you tried, man.
I could. Je parle pas français, mon chéri. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I I unironically am saying that. So yeah.
I'm not
Revenge
saying
for
that.
Frenchies.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the bigger like
Baguette?
dark? Is it me saying Big's gonna make playoffs, or her saying Vitello's gonna win the whole event? What is
Big.
less likely to happen? Is it Big? You think?
Big making
Big.
playoffs.
I'm just
They're
trying to
so
like grasp for
Unlucky.
something here. I want someone to get on my side on something. It's not happening, guys. You're
Look,
supposed to be
man,
my coach, Alex.
you didn't pick Mouse Sports as your dark horse. I genuinely like. I don't know what to say. Okay, you were supposed to be my man. You were supposed to be on my side. You know. But hey.
I'm from NA, man. I have to go with Liquid. I think Mouse.
I said as a dark horse.
Yeah, but then you want me to say Big isn't my dark horse when I like? Come on. I told you to go to playoffs, and you're like,
Carrigan made you a good player.
Yeah.
For like 2 weeks.
I think Mao's Liquid, and Liquid wins.
Good job.
I don't think Big makes finals and wins though.
Okay, good job. I'm glad you made it a bit more reasonable.
Listen, playoffs isn't that crazy of a goal. I mean,
For Big
nothing,
it is.
nothing, dude.
Yeah, for Big it is.
Yeah, for Big, it
If I had to pick one team, I was on the fence between Liquid and ENCE, but ENCE's CT sides were just because they were good with AUGs. That's not actually just why. That's like not the only reason.
Nice.
But
Good
they
job.
like that's the only reason X7 was good. Okay, I'm gonna put that out there. That's the only reason X7 was ever good, is because he could use the AUG, and the AUG is not as good anymore. It's more expensive again. It has a slower fire rate. You can't shoot it while you're standing straight up, or you're gonna get CS:GO to constantly. It's actually really frustrating how bad it is now standing up. But so I can't pick ENCE because I think their CT side is gonna lose too much because of this latest AUG nerf. So that puts me like actually between Liquid and Astralis, because I think people kind of like took their foot off the gas when they are approaching Astralis just a little bit. It feels like so many people are thinking right now, Astralis is weak, the Astralis era is over. And you know what? That might just motivate these guys, because Astralis have shown a lot of just will and determination throughout their era. And I'd be really surprised if they don't bring it back here. Liquid, just too many people look at them. Too many people are going to watch their demos. Everyone watched ESL Pro League Finals. Everyone knows every strat. Like every pro team, at least, that's anti-stratting should know everything that Liquid can throw at you. And it's really just like it hurts them so much when going into Cologne. So I actually would pick my favorite as Astralis for this tournament. And my dark horse is MVP PK. I think they're going to win it. No, they're terrible too.
I was actually gonna say that.
No, they're awful.
Better than Big.
Okay. Out of complete left field, my dark horse is NRG, because I have no idea how Stanislaw is going to work with this team. I didn't even pick them to make playoffs, but if I had to if there were like money odds on like put $1 on a team, like that's not even maybe going to make playoffs and you can win a lot, like I'd probably put it on NRG, because Stanislaw has shown that, you know, he just works with pacing, and if he puts like Breeze, Ethan, Tarek into the right spots, they can get a lot done, and they can take away some rounds. They can create enough chaos in rounds and play around that chaos that they can make it work. So, yeah, I'd put NRG as my dark horse, I guess.
Okay,
which is
so
weird,
I'm going to take a quick
yeah.
detour to flame someone from chat. Tweetage, I'm sorry, but you're the only person chatting, so I have to pick on you because you're talking mad ridiculous stuff right now. He says that, don't you feel like you guys are overestimating Team Liquid a bit? Liquid era, haven't, you know, Nitro and Elite been around for 4 years, almost losing every finale. They've been getting to every single final in 2018, and now...
Yeah.
Exactly! It's like, did you ever watch CS:GO when Astralis was TSM? They made semifinals in every single tournament for literally 3 years. And then they suddenly became the best team of all time.
Yeah, I don't know. That Astralis example should just shut down that guy's argument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been around for 4 years. You think? I mean, there's no way they can be good.
Yeah, like, you know, how can Nitro and Elise become good after becoming veteran players? You know, right after Elise delivers one of the best performances of his life last weekend.
Yeah. He's looking better than ever.
Yeah.
It's actually not.
which is the other reason why I think they're gonna lose, because I don't think he's gonna be able to maintain that. But now that that's done, I think Na'Vi wins this. Not gonna lie, I think Na'Vi wins this. I think Na'Vi is gonna come through after enough time of not playing and not being seen that, at this point, even look, man, even Zeus, when he gets a month off, has got to come up with some new strats. Okay, he's got a new player as well. Phoebe, I can see your face. I can see you've got something to say. You can jump on it as soon as I'm done. I think Navi's always gonna have Simple and Electronic. They're just too good to discount. Boomich, don't know what I think about him yet, to be honest. I think he's not as much of a direct upgrade as Maui says he is. I think it's a bit of a difficult one to integrate immediately, but I do think Navi has a very, 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 very solid shot at this tournament. I think they're the favorites for me. Not necessarily because they're better than Liquid, or ENCE for that matter. I just think they have favorable matchups for this tournament versus Astralis, versus ENCE. Possibly versus Liquid, because Electronic and Simple are going to be crazy on the CT side. So Liquid, the second they start pushing forward into them, that's where it becomes problematic. Now, I do think the AUG nerfs will kind of hit them a little bit versus Liquid. But I think just the fact that Liquid's high speed play could be counteracted very effectively by them means that Na'Vi actually gets a really good shot at winning this tournament out. And my dark horse, it's pretty obvious. It's a team that's not really a true dark horse, because let's be honest, they've got a decent enough chance at this. It's Heroic, but no, it's Mass Sports. It's Mass Sports. I think Mass Sports is.
Yeah, you got my attention. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. What?
No, I think Mass Sports. I think Mass Sports has a good chance at this. I think they can kind of walk away with this one because of lots of reasons, but realistically, it's Carrigan, it's Chris Shea. Make it happen, guys. Make it happen. Phoebe, why do you think I'm an idiot for talking about Na'Vi?
No. It's just Zeus. He hurts me. When I watch him, I look and I go, this needs to end. And he says, I'm gonna retire. He should have fucked off when they've had nothing to do for the last month. It's infuriating. I'm shit at the game. I don't understand the basics of the game, but I feel like I watch him and I just think, I just imagine Simple. I imagine Zeus sleeps at night and he's in his bed and he's having a good time, and Simple just stands there staring at the back of his head going, if I could, I'd just fucking kill you, because
You've got to say it with the accent. Come on.
No. I get enough of it in matchmaking. I don't need that then at me. But Zeus clearly does something special. He's clearly, I'm sure he's a wonderful bloke. Probably. But, oh god, if he says he's going to retire, he should have gone, because they can then just bring in somebody and have a good chance at this major that's coming up. Oh, no, we're going to keep you for another major. We're going to drag out the pain. Simple needs to suffer just that little bit more. Electronic needs to cry. Electronic has a baby to feed, and Zeus is stealing money from that baby, and is essentially taking food out of that baby's mouth by sitting there and going, oh, can I kill this guy? How wait, I press which button on my mouse to do the... Oh, I'm dead. Simple, help me. Simple. Like, no.
Simple, feed Electronics, baby.
Yeah, I just...
Simple just comes out, pops out a nipple, he just breastfeeds it away.
Too far, man.
I know, I'm trying to remember the copy paste. Oh well. It was a Keanu Reeves.
Can you just imagine the difference in Na'Vi, what it would be right now if Gambit didn't make that miracle run and win the major with Zeus, and then Na'Vi probably doesn't get Zeus back again because Zeus didn't win a major with a different team?
That's true. That would be crazy, actually. That would be crazy.
And they have Angel instead, and they're like 10 times better.
No, they wouldn't have Angel. Angel's never coming. Okay, Angel's never coming. They would have... they've gotten someone else, but Angel's never coming, okay? Maybe they've gotten StarX. I think they would have gotten StarX, honestly.
Yeah.
They could have gone into Wingman in
Starks
EU.
can't even hold his mouse.
I'm sorry. Other than that one Inferno map that Zeus had at Cologne last year.
Yeah, that one map.
Yeah, that one map. What?
Could have just kept Edward.
Right.
Yeah. Get rid of Zeus. Keep Edward for a bit.
And on that note, we're going to move on to news. So guys, I want thoughts on this. 5-year contracts.
Me first.
Yeah. Go. I know. You know, you're the only one who's actually still playing. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Actually,
Prior to the
Drone,
5-year contract,
Drone,
yeah, what's up?
Quick question.
Yeah.
You had a period where your stock was up very, very, very quickly. You know, around the minor time, where suddenly people are like, "Oh shit, this guy can play." Thank you, Carrigan. At that point, would you have taken a 3-year contract if you were offered it?
That depends a lot on who offers it.
You know, if Envy offered it.
That gets into the nitty-gritty of terms of the contract, buyouts, and, you know, stuff like that.
Vaguely.
But I mean, still 3 years is pretty...
Yeah, because it's pretty hefty.
It's hefty, but I mean, at this point, I don't know. I can speak for a small percentage of people that I know of. Like, contracts in esports right now for players are getting up into, like, the norm being about 2 years for a contract for a player. Yeah. As long as the buyout's reasonable, obviously. 5 years is, like, unreal. But I want to talk about, before that 5-year contract, people were talking about the initial terms of before the extension, what they got. And I want to know your opinion on this, because I did see a couple tweets that made a good point, and I'm still not fully sure what side of the fence I'm on here, but from what I understood, the terms were this team that they were bringing over to compete in ESEA main from Brazil that no one heard of. Yeah. $1,400 a month salary, housing in the US. We'll
get to that afterwards. We'll get to that. I've got that on the radar.
So just 5 years then, just the 5-year bit?
Just the 5-year bit. So, you know,
yeah, I think
would you accept would you accept a 3-year contract, though? Because that's still pretty bad.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, if it was given the right terms and I was comfortable in it, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I wouldn't go any though.
What's like the monthly pay for this again?
For the 5-year?
The 5-year? No,
we don't know. We don't know.
Oh, okay.
Is there any sort of thing, because one of the bigger issues, of course, in longer term contracts is, well, there's a lot of them, but one of them is that salaries inflate in esports. So like 3 years down the line, mate, 3 years ago, no one was getting 25K, okay? Then 2017 came around, and Virtus Pro is like, get that dollar out. G2 is like, get that dollar out. You know, half of North America is like, get that dollar out. And basically, there you go. So salaries inflate. Are contracts progressing to the point, and because I don't know about this, but you guys obviously have a lot more exposure to players. Are contracts progressing to a point where, you know, you can maybe say, hey, we get to renegotiate our salary at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. That's been a thing. I mean, I don't know how new it is. I've had it in contracts before. I think, you know, going back at least over a year now, that there are good faith renegotiation periods where different teams will do it for maybe over a year, or some people say every 6 months. There'll be good faith renegotiations in terms of salary based on teams' performance, teams' rankings, and stuff. So yeah, if they have that kind of stuff in the contract where that,
what happens if you can't agree on a negotiation?
Like during renegotiations? Yeah, that would also be a term of the contract. Like it would be like, then they can give you the right to shop around offers, you know, match offers that you get, stuff like that. There's a couple things that can happen. I just know that it's kind of a slippery slope, especially when you use the word good faith, because
that's why I was wondering, because there's not very much illegal, of that in the corporate world.
Right, but if, I mean, a 5-year contract is absurd, just outright. Like 5 years is not something you should ever like really agree to sign, but it's less egregious when you think of maybe they have, you know, every 6 months they renegotiate their salary and they can, you know, get offers, and then Furia has to match that offer, you know, that kind of thing. Or maybe they have, and I know that Furia came out with a statement saying their old contracts had this, so I can only assume the new ones do, in that, you know, team rankings and placements are indicative of salary bumps. So if they reach a certain threshold in the HLTV rankings, or if they become first in a major or top 2 or something, they get, you know, this bonus, this salary bump, et cetera, et cetera. When those things come into play, the 5 years is less of a problem, but it's still just such a long time to lock yourself down for an org, especially if their buyouts are something ridiculous, where that if they wanted to go to let's say MIBR has this miracle run where they're just insane again, and they're like, they have another era. Obviously, that's something that isn't looking like it's ever going to happen, or it wouldn't be soon. But if that happens, then the Furia can't really just pop off like, you can't pick up a case of Rotter to MIBR. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not something I would have recommended doing. I don't know really why they did it, but I imagine they have good enough faith in the contract and the agreement that 5 years was apparently not that much of an issue for them, I hope. I can only hope. I mean, I really hope those guys didn't get stuck in a really bad deal, because they're all super great guys.
What do you think, Maui?
About 5 years? Or
about contracts in general, and whether 5 years is something that could be legitimately all right if there is, you know... Okay, let's make it more interesting. Let's make it what needs to be in a 5-year contract, other than just sheer money, because obviously there's a lot of different terms, and keeping in mind that we're talking. Actually, just give me the different elements of it. Okay, this is what's happening in esports contracts already for players, and this is what isn't happening but would need to be there for a 5-year contract to be warranted.
I mean, I never signed like a contract that was like of that magnitude at all. So it's hard for me to say from personal experience. What I would think though is that, and this is just me thinking really practically, if it's like 25K 5 years, I would sign that in a heartbeat. Like, that's so much money. Like, you're a millionaire after 5 years. Okay, if you think about it, like, that's like, I almost like, unless I'm getting like put in a detention center to do this or something, like, as long as I still have a semblance of free will along with that 5 years, I'd probably sign it if it's above 25K, 25K or more. But other thing, like if it's like something like, let's say, like, money is the most important thing to me when regarding the length of that contract. Buyouts and things like that, I don't really know from experience like how much that matters, because I don't know what team is going to buy. If I'm Furia, if I'm a Furia player, I don't know what team is going to buy me out that I'd actually rather go to than just stay on Furia, because MIBR is arguably worse right now. And if you're speaking Portuguese already, that's your only other option, unless you're looking at Luminosity, but that's obviously a downgrade. So I don't really know why you wouldn't take it, especially if these guys have no like interest in learning English. Like, if they're not going to learn English, I don't know how good they speak it.
They're pretty good. They could definitely learn it quick.
Okay.
I've had a conversation with all of them, and they
they're not bad at it.
Then I would care about the buyout a lot too. Just, I mean, 5 years for anything is a long time. But then again, like, I signed up for college for 4 years and I didn't make any money doing that. So I'm kind of okay with selling myself to something like that, like playing games and making $1 million for 5 years. Like, that's for me though. Like, I could see why people aren't that interested in it, or why they think 5 years is a lot. But like, you're making $1 million, over $1 million, plus your prize winnings. You have extra incentive. Like, you could, like, I don't know what the GD like average like income or whatever median income of Brazil is, but I'm pretty sure $1 million plus tournament winnings.
I mean, it's much lower. It's much lower.
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm just not trying to be too. Yeah, but like,
no,
yeah,
look, realistically,
it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's the medium of any country in the world would be a lot lower than $1 million over 5 years. Before I go to Phoebe, Drone, I need to quickly check with you on something. What kind of salary cuts are you talking if you're on the bench, generally in contracts? Like, is it 50%? How does it work? Because I'm assuming there's a salary cut.
Right. So there is definitely a salary cut when you get benched. Obviously, they're not going to pay you full salary. It's kind of been a pretty wide range from the contracts I've seen, and where like it could go from like you're making a livable wage on the bench for sure, and like, but that's also, I'm not in the numbers of $25,000 a month. Like, I was never, I'm not like that sick, right? So it's like, it would go from you're making more than like good enough money, like you're pretty comfortable, to like, okay, this is livable, but I know I could be making more on another team playing as a starter. But you also have to touch on the fact that these guys, you sign for 5 years, your security, unless you have it written into the contract, is that I hope these guys don't just drop me if we play bad. Because like you're locked to them for 5 years as long as they want you. But if the moment they don't want you, they can just cut your whole team and you're dropped.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's coming more common in esports contracts as of late, where you're getting like severance clauses and like more job security for the players, that you can't just like throw them on the street whenever you're done with them and have them committed to you for 5 years, which is really one-sided in that way. So yeah, you have to touch on, you sign your life away for 5 years. Yeah, you're making 25,000, but maybe that has like a horrible salary cut if you get benched, and maybe it drops more than 50%.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
okay.
Which honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if it was, because listen, you're not going to pay a guy $25,000 or anything close to that for not playing for you. You'd be like, listen, you should be glad we're getting you 10 for just not doing anything.
Right.
And then on the same note, they could also just choose, instead of doing that, just drop you. So there is a way to make a 5-year contract. Obviously, I don't think it's reasonable to assume that they got everything they wanted and they have all these securities and all these really sick deals and that they can be really, I guarantee you, and in everyone's contract, there's always something they're not happy with. And that's just really unsettling to think of when you are locked into that contract for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So,
Baby.
I put out a tweet when this was announced saying how VP back in 2016 signed 4-year contracts, and they boasted these are the longest and most this is like the biggest length of time an esports contract has ever been signed. And 2 years later, Taz is benched and kicked because there's another team that he can go to and they didn't want to pay him. Right. And I think that it is that crucial detail that we don't have, which is, if you get benched, are they just going to say, actually, we can just get rid of you? Actually, that's we said 4 years, we said 5 years, but we lied, get out. Or whether it is, whatever happens, unless it's something like you want to leave and someone's paying your buyout, you're covered, because that's probably far more of a concern. And I know that, dodgy contracts aren't exactly something new, especially in CS, and it's very easy for someone to get trapped on a
especially for like
really
Brazilian CS as well.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about dodgy contracts, that Tfue thing with FaZe that happened kind of recently. Like that guy's he's like one of the biggest personalities, and you can see even he had a pretty ridiculous contract for last standards, and it's like you got to wonder, and especially with these guys from Furia, they've come into this rise to like the top teams so quickly that you can't imagine they have a lot of experience with these contracts and this
for sure
contract language and what's a good deal, what's a bad deal. And you don't know, maybe these guys did, and I really don't want to say this, and I really want to hope that it didn't happen, and they did go through proper channels and get lawyers and make sure everything's good with them. But like, it would just be really bad for these guys because this happened so quickly and that they got taken advantage of and they got stuck to a 5-year deal that they really aren't happy with.
Yeah, I think it's kind of absurd. The thing is, I'm actually just going through their website right now, Furia's. They've got 2 teams, man. They've got PUBG, they've got CSGO. It's not a big organization. Their website's pretty trash. It is. It's a single-page website. There's really not much to it. It's like even go into
they have an academy team, I think, also, or they used to.
I mean, what do you do with an academy team for CSGO? You can't really have much in it. You can't put it in ESL main or anything because of the rules around it. So I think that's pretty.
Furia main team was an ESL main not long ago.
Yeah, that's true, but you know what I mean. I go into the news section. They've got 5 links over there. This is not a developed website. This is not like an esports organization with a lot of money, from what I'm assuming. So
they probably fired their web developer to pay the amazing Furia salary.
I mean, it looks like they never had a web developer, but hey,
that's how you save money.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, they've got good social media presence, and they've got good, overall. They've got a good demographic behind them, because that's the thing that people forget about concentrated demographics, and this is where I jump in with the business boy talk, which is that you get to monetize that a lot more effectively. So if you're actually going to look at the average amount of money spent, say, for an American team by their fans, it's probably going to be a lot lower than a Brazilian team by their fans, when you put it into the context of overall costs and whatnot, etc., etc. I still think it's not possible for Furia to offer that kind of contract. I don't understand how that happens from an organization like this one, when we're at a point where, like you mentioned, Tfue's contract is completely messed up. Everyone's contract all over the place is incredibly messed up. We don't have proper regulations. We don't have all of these things. We have organizations to date that say, hey, if you aren't actually coming to us without an agent, we're not going to be representing you. So I feel like it's just not possible that we get to a point, because for me, for a 5-year contract, there has to be renegotiation where if you aren't able to renegotiate, your buyout is drastically lowered. So, I'm assuming that there has to be severance as well. So if the severance is there, if the buyout is there to compensate for the severance, then the severance can be lowered too with it. I don't know the legalese for it. If not, then if you're being benched, you can't have your salary being significantly lowered. If 5 years down the line, you don't want to be stuck in a place where sure, you're getting $1 million, like Maui said, but maybe everyone around you is getting $5 million. You don't want that to happen.
Right.
We've seen these salary jumps. There's all of these different things, and I just don't see that being I can't fathom that being possible. And this reminds me of a tweet I saw from someone which said that, listen, I think it was Ryan actually from Rush B. He said that, listen, esports 5-year contracts are like sports 20-year contracts. And that's true. It's because the lifespan of an esports player is so much lower as well. So what are you going to see them do? Are they going to become a streamer if they can't actually just play anymore? Because, we see pros get out after 3 or 4 years after hitting their peak. That's pretty common. Okay, what makes you think they're going to be a popular enough streamer to warrant that contract? There's all of these big question marks, and I just don't think Furia can answer all of them. So I think this is probably a bad decision being made. I've got my fingers crossed for them. I think that Furia could leverage this into getting a lot more VC money. That's the important thing. So this is where I could potentially see the organization growing enough to be able to, secure contracts and fund the contracts in a way that they need to, but it's still very difficult. Now, old contracts. They went into main, they went at MDL, whatever. They were being paid $1,400 a month. They were having 40% of their prize money taken away from them. It was a report by DK. I have no reason to doubt DK. He's one of the greatest, overall investigative journalists in the past 3 years who's come up. What do you guys think about that? Maui, you're in MDL right now. You were a coach for an MDL organization a little while ago until Space Station left CSGO overall. How does that sound to you? Because personally, I thought it wasn't that bad.
What was it? They were getting like $1,400 a month. They were getting housing, right?
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
I mean, like, speaking from experience, I signed a worse contract than this before. So, and then I don't know if you guys know what ASIO happened, but then we all got like physically threatened and like
that is true.
We had to leave and everything, and just like, and we didn't even see our prize money. So I mean, this is pretty solid, honestly. Like, I don't actually even mind this. Like, people think when you're in Maine or something like that, you're gonna get some nice contract. Like, get real. Like, to even do this is
to get a contract.
Yeah. To even get $1 out of playing Maine is just like insane. So I mean, if you can live off of it because they're giving you housing too, you're actually, I mean, I'm assuming their work conditions weren't as bad as the ones we had with a scary manager, man.
Probably not.
I'm assuming. But so I don't think it, yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it's, when they say it's like among the worst that they've ever seen, like, what, they just like, dude, did they see my contract? It was terrible. Like, they haven't seen like many contracts. There's a lot of worse ones. I've seen people like in main advanced divisions with like contracts that are just super sketchy too. Like, there's no guidelines. It's like everything is like up to interpretation, and just like, I don't know, at least they wrote like a lot of words on this one. Like, I've seen ones that are just like 2 pages long or like, and they look terrible. So
yeah, it looks like the Oregoner tried to write it himself, didn't hire like
exactly. So
those are always the best ones. I've actually seen a few fun ones like that as well. It's really interesting. They don't give any salary. This is in Pakistan, of course. So they don't give any salary. They ask for 50% of the prize money, and they're like, hey, we're going to give you facilities and money if we ever get sponsors. And they're not even looking for sponsors. It's really cute. It's a 3-page contract, and the players, and because, players come to me for this kind of stuff because, hey, I had to study, 2 law courses. That makes me as close to an esports lawyer in Pakistan as we have. And players are like, hey, what do you think about this contract I'm going to sign? I just look at it. It's just like, mate, like, you can't negotiate this because I know how these organizations work, but this isn't a real contract. So if you're ever in trouble, just tell me. You go to court and they'll be like, yeah, this doesn't actually work. That's just kind of how
this isn't like legally binding.
Yeah, this is literally just, you spitting on your hand and shaking it. And it's probably going to get you as many diseases. Phoebe, closing thoughts on this topic?
I think that I feel like the thing that people have had the real problem with was the prize money thing. I think I've read somewhere, I think it was in
40%.
that report, that the industry standard for Valve games is 90% to the players. But again, this is a main team. I think if you're a team that's, playing in, ESL Pro League and, you're a big team, okay, you probably should be getting your prize money. But if you're a team where getting any prize money is unlikely and people are putting a huge amount of investment into you, I think to expect them to go, no, we're just doing it because we like you guys. No, you kind of have to accept that that's how it's going to be initially. But if you happen to turn into a really good team like Furia, the org has renegotiated and given them new contracts. I think this would be a very different topic. This would be a very different topic if actually the Furia people went, no, we liked that old contract. We're keeping you on that salary and with this exact same structure, and we're not changing it because fuck you.
I think the topic would have been, hey, Furia just signed with SK Gaming.
Just a number to bring up. When you come in second place in main, which Furia did, I think they lost to Intact or something in the finals or something like that. So they won like $1,800. Like the salary that Furia is already giving them is nearly 5 times that across those players. It's $1,400 or $1,800 split between 5 players.
Yeah,
like their salary's already just so much better. It's like, yeah, you should probably. It's okay that the org's getting it. Like,
yeah.
What? Like, yeah.
I do think the buyout part is a little bit ridiculous though, where their buyout was like, I don't know, the KS Rado was 150,000, something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, something around that. So anyhow, there's that.
It might be our wishes they paid that now though.
Yeah,
It might be our wishes they didn't sign that lineup right now. You know,
should have kept Optic.
Should have actually kept Optic, but the problem is it's paid so much for MIBR, man, and everything. But hey, there goes that. Phoebe, is there anything you want to bring up? Because I know you had a few topics.
All I wanted to say about Fitch and when he was listed for transfer. Did you see the image that the Vanguard used?
So cool.
And how it looked like he was about to drop the best mixtape ever. They have him in like just looking out into the distance, and they had just like a thing in the corner. It looked like they were just taking the mic. They were just like, yeah, he's going apparently, but we're gonna just make him look ridiculous while we do it.
He looks so cool. What are you talking about? I love that picture.
Yeah, but he's not. See, I'm not down with the kids. I can't name a rapper that he might look like. Yeah,
they're like 7 years younger than me. Not really, but
no. So I'm 12. Yeah, no. It looks like they just went. It looked like they took him to the beach, told him he's about to be transferred, and he's just turned around and looked into the distance like, but what am I going to do now? And someone just got their camera out and went...
Yeah, it's like... And then they put a gun to the back of his head. They're like, see ya. Yeah, at least you're going out with a good view.
First time this happened to Fitch.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Get the fuck out my team.
Yeah, have a nice day at the beach, everything, you know. Just some sun tanning, everything. Hey guys, I really love being with you.
About that.
You can have
look that way off into the distance.
Why, guys? Yeah, you know, we're getting you a new Tinder profile picture. Totally.
This is your severance.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is where you find yourself a new partner. On Tinder? No, in life and CSGO. See you. Anyhow, anything you guys want to quickly talk about before we end the podcast? Drone, Maui?
I like a Dren to a Vanguard. I think it's really good. I mean, I'm glad he's on a team. That's all. Just to build off of the Fitch point. Does anyone have opinions on it, though?
None.
I mean, major MVP, decent team, alright.
Is
Probably
James on a Vanguard?
Is
James on a Vanguard?
Yeah. So now James gets to bait a Dren and save his op after a Dren doesn't kill all of them in the bomb site. Which he's capable of doing, though.
Wait. So what's the Vanguard's roster, actually? I don't actually know this.
They still have Crizzen on the bench as well, though, don't they?
It's Buster, Kikert, Jamie, Sanji, and a Dren. That is good. That's a solid roster.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. You could contend for top 15 with that.
They could be 10th. They could be like the 10th best team.
They're my dark horse for the Cologne event.
I don't even. Yeah.
You know what? You know what? They still have a better chance than Big.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Big just drops out accidentally. A Vanguard shows up, and we're like, yeah, we're the closest thing you.
Visa issues.
Zantara's couldn't get a visa, guys. Why don't you just use the coach's stand-in? Anyhow, anything else you want to bring up, Drone?
No, I think I'm good. Can't think of anything right now.
Okay. Anyway, you know, to the 6 to 12 people who have been, you know, coming and going on the stream, thank you all for tuning in, guys. We appreciate it. Podcast is hopefully going to be live every week. We don't really know when exactly because, let's be honest, we have like we're fucking terrible at getting guests, especially guests who have a webcam.
I was told the day before I was supposed to come on. Alex was like, "Oh yeah, you should probably have one of those." I was like, "Oh, thanks for that one."
I figured you just have one. Like,
Yeah.
who doesn't have
Who
one
doesn't
in
have a
2019?
web? Yeah, like listen. Okay,
I'm
drone.
moving
Drone.
from Texas.
Drone.
here.
Here's the thing.
Okay,
Okay?
let's go.
Listen, man. You're a fun guy. You've got a personality. You can talk.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm guessing you're all right on camera as well. You know, you're a CS:GO player who needs attention to get into an organization right now. Why don't you have a webcam?
Okay, let me bring you through my scenario. Okay,
$1 million question.
$1 million question. I'm in Texas. I'm living there. Envy HQ in Texas. I'm living out there having a good time. Envy drops me, man. Boom, scissors. I'm off the team. I'm gone. Unlucky. Okay, got to move home. Takes a couple months. Pack up everything I own into like 5 suitcases. Right. Move while I'm getting the apartment here. Staying at my parents' house, chilling. I'm like, my webcam's in one of these 5 suitcases, right? But he says the word podcast, and you know where I come from, podcast means audio. That's me. So I
What
didn't think of
CS:GO
anything. And
podcast have you ever listened to?
well, I don't watch
With
any
just
of them.
audio. Really? Not even by the numbers?
I know I watch them, but I don't listen. Like I don't watch them. Like I put them
Exactly.
on in the background and turn
Yeah,
the
but you
video
put
off.
them on YouTube, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so what I did, I was like, well, who the hell's TeaTime? First off.
The question on everyone's lips.
Hey, if it makes you feel any
And then-
better,
and then I looked up
I've
the
been on the
podcast
top.
and I was like,
Wait,
oh,
you
no.
knew who I was?
We won't answer that question. I did. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Oh, you're lying. Okay, that's good.
I'm not lying though. No, I knew
Really?
you were associated with ESL and I knew you were a caster. I didn't know too much, but anyway, I didn't know you had a podcast. So I looked that up and I was like, oh, everybody
Goddamn.
on these has cameras and webcams, and I was like, oh, I should probably ask Alex about that. And then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll find it. And then I did find it, and then I plugged in and it just didn't work. So there's that.
Okay. And then the other problem was that you chose a picture which is like, mate, that's such an unflattering photo of you.
You think there's any flattering photos of me?
No, I'm sure there's a photo of
Your
you
ones
where
on
you're
Splice
smiling.
look better. Your ones on Splice look better, actually.
Well, I don't care. I just picked the most recent one. I think that's my HLTV profile picture, to be fair.
Okay, let's be honest,
Yeah, it
guys. No one wants to remember Slice.
What's
Wait.
Splice?
Exactly. Anyhow, so I think that's it. Drone, hopefully you'll have a webcam the next time I ask Maui to bring you on.
Of course.
You know, it was lovely having you. You are actually surprisingly good on the mic, which I wasn't expecting at all, not going to lie. So try to do this more often. Maybe not with me always, but, you know, with other people. But if you want to do it with me, I'm always down with that as well. And I mean, you're used to it, aren't you?
snipped again.
You're
Oh
used
God,
to
not
it.
again. I'm getting PTSD.
And you know, let's end on a happy note with us firing the guy who thinks that Big isn't terrible.
You can't
Alright,
fire
good.
me. I quit.
Is that what Big said when they bombed out of Cologne?
God, man.
Anyway,
Not yet.
When they bombed out of whatever that
Relevance?
tournament's name. Yeah.
Anyhow, so this has been the Hired Talent podcast. The reason why it's called Hired Talent, of course, is because you can hire us all as talent. I don't know about Drone, though, but, you know, you can hire him as CSGO talent in terms of playing.
I mean, that's called casters
kind of.
talent, quote unquote.
Cute.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Peace out. You know, you have fun in MDL, baby. Anyway, that's us gone.
I'll do my
We
best.
will have fun. We have fun a lot.
That's all we can.
Maybe
do.
a bit too much.
That's all we do is have fun.
All right, guys. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, man.